live on YouTube. What's going on for everybody that's over there on YouTube, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? We're live over here on X, getting ready to start this space slash broadcast tonight. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's ready for a decent conversation tonight as well, too. Let's try to go ahead and be as respectful as possible. I know sometimes these conversations can get sideways, and we're not here to insult anybody, but just to have a thoughtful dialogue, and hopefully everybody brings scholarship with them. And, we have a good back and forth no matter what side you're on. Recently, an article was published on the New York Times, and I cannot think of the author's name. I'm going to try to pull that article up because I wanted to read some of it. It was a decent, pretty long article, not that long. I wanted to read it, but the New York Times does have a paywall up. So I signed up and I thought I could read a doggone article, but right before the space started, I tried to get on there and it wouldn't let me get on there. But, basically it's saying, is it time to go ahead and get away? Black author, I cannot remember his name. Was it John something? He's basically asking, is it time to go ahead and do away with the whole African-American vernacular that we've been hearing for the past pushing damn near 40 years. A lot of people say it was 88 when Jesse Jackson came out with it, with also the Black Caucus and members of other Black members and politics as well, too. And they came up with this. Some people believe that they were boosted by the Democrats. But nonetheless, I could remember being in elementary school at the time. And, it was a switch from just being called Black to basically, to being African American. It was a big difference. Now I know we used to see some of these old school movies in the 70s and some of these Black shows, Good Times and the Jeffersons, and people used to talk about Afro American. But I can honestly say, as being a kid in the 80s and stuff, mid 80s, little kid being in elementary school, I didn't really hear anybody ever go around saying African American. It was just pretty much Black, and they didn't even say Black American. They used to just say Black. But as time evolved, within the next 5 years or so, definitely within the next 10 years, the African-American label really took off in the country. It really took off. And, it pretty much it was something that was pretty much, tied to Black people. A lot of Black people, older Black people at the time, they didn't really fight back, push back against it, even though a lot of them considered themselves just to be Black. They didn't feel the need to have the extra label onto them. But here we are today. Jesse Jackson, I know people say they put it on him, and I know you have some people, some Pan-Africans will say that, African-American is a term that they used back in the 1800s and stuff like that. I can honestly say that I've never heard, especially a lot of older, elder Black people here in the Deep South back in the 80s when we were kids and stuff refer to themselves as being African-American. They just said Black. A lot of them, for the longest time, they grew up being labeled Negroes as well, too. So, that is something that is totally different. Like I say, I'm going to see if I can pull that article up. It's pretty hard because they do have it behind a paywall. But if I get a chance, I will pull that article up. I'm hoping my people over there on YouTube provide us with some nice comments. Shout out to all you guys over there. Make sure y'all drop some comments. We will read them back over here in the space as well, too. We want to get the dialogue going on X and on YouTube as well, too. We want to hear what you guys think about it as well. DJ, go ahead. You got it. Professor, I know you're going to be kicking it in as well, too. Shout out Charles and Queen B as well, too. And our people, they'll start to filter in slowly tonight.
Mic check. Y'all can hear me nice and clear? Hold on, I'm about to get y'all up here on the big screen.
Yeah, we got you.
I got to look at this phone.
Yeah.
So now just let me say this real quick. So, yeah, we know it's not the insult, but, we the kings and queens of comedy, so we're going to roast everybody. It's just really what all this stuff is between, Okada and Tether. It's just roasting everybody because people that's on the continent don't know what's going on with Okada's like that. And people over here don't know what's going on with the Tethers over there like that. So it's like, hey, but we understand what's going on locally. We understand over here in America, we ain't the vast majority. And just, I guess maybe the one thing I should have started with was the last thing you let off on was the whole Jesse Jackson thing. So I remember when I was young, whatever year this was, 87, 86, whatever year Jesse Jackson said this, yeah, we're African American. I said, no, we not. We Negroes. You feel what I'm saying? I said that as a kid, bro. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, Come on, man. We really trying to really reclassify, rename ourselves to a continent when we already know race is a construct. You have to prove that your ancestors came off a slave ship or not. Matter of fact, that's something we bringing back up again. Where the slave ships at? White man got kept everything else. Where the ships at? You got records of who you kept as a slave. Our ancestors? No. Some of our elders actually just still 100-something. They could remember picking cotton. Yep. So it's like, hold on a minute, y'all got the Dawes rolls and you know what I mean, the manifest of which y'all was shipping in and out, and then after slavery ended, I think in the early late 1700s, early 1800s, whatever it was, y'all enacted the breeding farms. So it's like y'all some horrible ass people, yo. You know what I'm saying? Your descendants today still. You know what I'm saying? Then and now, you know what I mean? George Washington with Negro teeth, you know what I mean? So reparations are bust. Africans, y'all can't get in this reparations claim if you're not a Negro. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Professor Gang, you know what I'm saying? Coles, we was just talking about this, you know what I'm saying? And I think me and you was talking about this earlier too, Toto. Hey, if it ain't before 1870 census, it's over. And look, I'm really trying to narrow it down between 1776 and 1870. You know what I'm saying? If you wasn't here during them times, it's over, bro. You ain't got no generational work, it's over, bro. Because a lot of our folks is finding this stuff out, you know what I'm saying? We ain't from Africa, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to little homie that was in you know what I mean? What movie was it with John Singleton movie with Lawrence Fishburne? No, you know what I'm saying?
You talk about Boys in the Hood?
Yeah, hey, I ain't no African. You African boost. Little homie was right. Why you want to fight him over that, Trey? He was telling you the truth. He might have been Chickasaw, you know what I mean? Cherokee. Hey, we Wequawek Indian. That's the name of that name, Professor Wequawek. When we say Weekway, just to say it quick, you know what I'm saying? But Wequawek, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, I'm a Wequawek Indian, you know what I'm saying? As far as I know, I'm from Brick City. My family been up here since before the riots. But my folks from North Carolina, Virginia. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, you know what I mean? Each his own, man. I'll yell that. Shout out to the room. Make sure y'all come up to the largest black curated news on the web, newstotal.com. Get that subscription too. Let's go. Shout out to News Total. Share the room, y'all. Share the room.
Hey, I wanted to ask you something too, because you said something, DJ, and I wanted to ask you. You said something about that about the ships or something, that where the ships at and everything else like that. So before you answer, I just want to get your opinion on that. So you're saying that because of are you saying that the ships part of the transatlantic slave trade that they can't be found? So are you doubting that it took place?
No, I'm not on that like that, because we understand what they call it nowadays, it's even kidnapping. But we understand how migration in itself works. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, if you're being ostracized or whatever was going on in a certain amount of land, or you being conquered, you know, we see it in the movies. What's that Mel Gibson movie, Apocalypto, where that actually happened at? This was in like medieval, Stone Age kind of type times. You know what I'm saying? Where these barbaric dudes came in and just conquered, you know what I mean, the village. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Joker's got to flee. You know how the synopsis of the movie is, you got to flee, get your weight up, become a boy to a man. You know, you come back and defeat the evil warlord king and, you know, reclaim your throne. You feel what I'm saying? But, you know, we still waiting on a slave rescue ship. So it's like, if we're from Africa, why ain't the vast majority of Africans, no matter where a lot of these new countries in Africa are from, Nigeria or whatever, Ghana, still ain't came and got us yet. You know what I'm saying? Still ain't said, hey, wholeheartedly just come on over here, F America and all this other stuff. See, in my opinion, it'd be the penny saying F America, but they live here, but don't want to go over to Africa. So, you know, it's a lot of what I would call landmarks, or what we call landmarks, say in America. You need to start traveling around this country. Forget going anywhere else to travel. The best thing a man could do in his life is travel. We heard that before. So when you go just up and down the East Coast, aka I-95, BKA, better known as the Runaway, you know what I mean, Railroad. I-95 is nothing more than a runaway railroad. You know what I'm saying? A lot of I-95, we all understand, has been paid through a Black American neighborhood, a Negrohood. So we got our own history here. a lot of the inventions you see here in America, and not to go too off the topic because it's not about that. You know what I'm saying? I believe that these cracking knackers, aka the Europeans, Spaniards, England, London, added up. You know what I mean? All the kings and queens of the old days was enacted slavery. Don't forget these Arab Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget them. Which is North Africa, not East Africa. How they get their geographic mixed up. See what I'm saying, bro? Follow. So we need to be suing all these people for reparations at the end of the day. And we understand that we can't sue Africans in a sense because we don't understand that, or even know, not to say we understand, we don't really have a deep dive, or none of those really kingdoms actually even exist in the sense of someone to point the finger at that we understand too. But if you're saying we are Africans and it's not them saying it, it's the boule over here saying, you see what I'm saying? Because the Africans will tell you quick as hell, you ain't an African. You're an American. Be proud of your Yankee status, right? You're absolutely right, Tellernacker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no black, Poppy. You know what I'm saying? Because you will have to prove again back to this. Your ancestors came off a slave ship. Now, two things could be true at the same time because the cracking knackers had well documentation of everything that they've done. But where's the slave ships at now? Even if you repurpose those ships into something else, what house is that now? Well, what structure did you use that wood for? Did you use it to keep warm? You know what I'm saying? Like they had to burn it up? Where's the documentation of that? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they don't teach you this stuff in school. So it's like, is we really upset that Trump trying to end Job Corps and all this other stuff, even though a lot of our people go there. I tried to go there, it didn't work out. Shout out to Job Corps homies, you know what I'm saying? But Job Corps only dropping a bucket. While we ain't trying to get and take some of this trillions and trillions of dollars we spend every year on a year and go build our own schools. But don't call Umar, though, because he ain't here to help you. Are you?
And I'm hearing something now. I guess it's something that's recently been popping off a lot, and I guess people have been having a lot of discussions here on X about it as well too. They're talking about something about first generation. What was it? First generation Black American. And I guess you have those of immigrant backgrounds. They're calling themselves, they were born here or whatever, and they're saying that they're first generation Black American. So I guess that in itself has led to a big discussion and debate and stuff like that as well too. And I think I was listening to Tariq's I call a bit of his playback on YouTube, and you had a gentleman, I believe he was Jamaican, and he was saying that, hey, he is a first generation Black American, though, even though he comes from immigrant background, he was born here in America, so he's a first generation. Then you have, of course, the other side's gonna be like, well, hey, how you gonna be a first generation Black American unless you were here in 1860 something or whatever? So you're having that back and forth between both sides and stuff like that. People saying, hey, I can be a first generation even if my parents brought me here and they had me here in this country. I'm by the definition, because the guy was saying that by the definition that the Portuguese, Spanish, when they started enslaving people, they started saying, okay, well, everybody's Black that looked a certain way and this and that or whatever. So by definition, he's Black. By the slavery definition, he was born in America, so that makes him a first generation Black American, is what the person was saying. Go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, the second to the last part you said is 100% correct. If you wasn't here, again, this is what I was saying. If your ass wasn't, you wasn't here, 1776 to 18, we're gonna give you to 1870. You know what I'm saying? Even in that time period, if you came anything after 1863, the war was over with, and America was already a nation. You feel what I'm saying? So for you to say that you are first generation born anything, it better be the ethnicity of your parents and grandparents, especially if your parents did not race mix. Rest in peace, Viola Wallace. So a lot of folks think Biggie is full Jamaican. No way, son. You know what I'm saying? Let me spit some bars to you, B. You know what I mean? Because I'm a DJ. My mama pops mixed me with Jamaican rum and whiskey. Who make whiskey better than anybody here on this planet? Black Americans, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's a metaphor punchline analogy to tell you I'm mixed, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? My pops is that. You know what I'm saying? My mom darker than all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? And she's straight from Jamaica. God have mercy. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, sister. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, he could say that, Biggie. But a lot of them that are born here, you are born to ethnic parents that are full Asian, full Angolan, full South African. That is not black in any sense. Race, y'all better understand, construct, made up, all this other stuff. So if you're just going to say for context purposes that we are a part of the black races of people who are melanated, see, we got to change that whole thing up. It should just be melanated races. Don't say black anything, because black, in a sense, we understand the pull from it. We've remixed it and said it's going to be this. Just keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? Now we also got the other things that we are coming to grips and understanding and unfolding the books. Diving into the history, things like Negro Land and all that other stuff. If you guys associate with people like, whether it be Dane Calloway, UBTV, hey, America is Egypt, bro. Again, back to the landmarkers and stuff and things that was going on. It's a lot of landmarkers throughout this country, bro, of things that was going on. And, dive into them history books. And yeah, even a fool like Trump, you know what I'm saying? Hey, the 14th Amendment was for the children of slaves. Oh, imagine what that room was like when they found that out, bro. You feel what I'm saying? We found our ticket. We still gonna blame the Negroes. You feel what I'm saying? But we gonna get these tellers about it at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, two things could be true. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. At the same time, but hey, stay on the map on Trump, because we don't know how he gonna play us after all this is said and done. Yeah, you might have fake left us alone the first time, but a lot of the stuff in Project 2025, you'll have our elders that are Black American running around saying, oh, he gonna put us in change news, you ain't ready, you ready to pick cotton, Zion? You ready to pick cotton? Come on, bro, you know what I'm saying? When you pick some cotton? When you pick some cotton, OG? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm saying though. All right, bro. Well, look, man, make sure you got a hands to keep some water when you know what I'm saying. I won't be out in the field. I'm gonna be one of them knackers that's it. I'm in the house. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be the house nigga or if anything, you know what I'm saying? I'm going in the crib when the sun where the eliminators at. Because I ain't picking no guy. You know what I'm saying? You crazy as hell. You know what I'm saying? We just got to fight, slave master. I'm a Django. You know what I'm saying? That's why I couldn't have been born in them times, because I would have been going crazy. You know what I'm saying? So when you got folks, and just to try to end it on this, when you got folks saying, oh, well, you next. Show me when we ain't never been first 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 KRS-One. We don't been everything. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, look, why you got, like you said, back to these people having these spaces, this is all I see. Oh, FBA this. ADO's that. Black American this. Oh, this, that, and the third. Why y'all ain't helping us? La. Wait y'all turn. It's a lot of finger pointing going on, man. So this is why y'all got a bon voyage, arrivederci, see you later, adios amigo. You know what I'm saying? Send me a postcard, so I know you got home safe, all this. You know what I'm saying? FunnySocial.com is the address. Newstory.com is the address. So we know you good. We don't want me to see you heard nothing. Hey, but y'all gotta go, because now here's the new thing we need to talk about, right? Hey, how much remittances these people sending home versus what they allegedly paying all these taxes to. So, hey, if you're calling yourself an African anything at this point, I think the information is still legible. You will have to prove that. So, in reality, if it's not true that you came off a slave ship and you was born here because of things like the birthing houses they had, you know what I'm saying? After slavery, you couldn't import no more slaves. So you will have to at least start from there. Real talk, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
Real talk. Shout out to everybody coming up in the space too. I see some of our usuals and some people popping up in here that we hadn't seen for a while. But shout out to Pressure. I see Black Pressure made his way up here to the speaking section. What's up, Love I Am, and my girl Val. I see Trouble down there. I see a bunch of y'all down there as well too. Just Case, Cognitive, Charles, QT, Z. All of you guys. Shout out to everybody coming up in here. Make sure y'all go ahead and share the space out. Let everybody know that we're having this conversation going on tonight. Like I said, this article had popped up in the New York Times a few days ago. black author, and he talked about the real Kickstarter when the actual African American term took off. So, like I said, I was trying to get that article. They have it behind a paywall, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get it later on and read it up in the space as well too. But I'm interested to hear a bunch of opinions tonight. Pressure. I saw you left a comment as well too. Yeah.
News real quick, and I'm gonna get off the mic. I'm just letting you know I'm popping my lightsaber tonight, right?
Go ahead, do what you do.
Okay, no, I want to listen though. I'm about to walk out the gym, so I'm listening. I'll be home in like 10 minutes.
Okay, no problem. When you get a chance, come on up here. Professor, I hadn't heard from you, so I know you got something that you want to speak on it as well, too. So what's up, Professor? Yep, is Professor still in the space?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, that Black Pressure? What's up to all my brothers up in here?
What's up, fam?
What's up? And my sister down there, I see Trouble down there. Yeah, she always gonna make a little trouble here and there. Much love to her.
I got him for you.
But anyway, the African American moniker, right? We need to just completely get this out of our language. Never speak on it again. I hate even bringing it up. I know Jesse Jackson was the man that coined the phrase African American as he was our so-called leader. But the man was really a coward. He sold his people out. We followed this man based off of what he was talking, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. And then, of course, he came up with this Rainbow Push Coalition, which was really another way of catering to other groups. And it really was not for African American or Black American, let me put it that way. It was for other groups to cater to them. And this is why, if you notice, we went into the direction of helping other groups instead of being about our business, which was Black American business. And that's what happens when you let a sellout, coon MF, I can't say the word, y'all know what I want to say, coon MF, that sold us out and sold out the other Black leaders of the movement, take over and sells everything to the white man. And this is how we end up with the African American, right? Because they basically want us to be an immigrant group. This is how come we have that name, African American, because the white man wanted to make sure that we were portrayed as an immigrant group and not as a group that was actually forced and kidnapped and brought over here off of slave ships, okay? This is why we should have been fighting against that African American moniker a long time ago. But be as it may, our people were lost. We was just happy that we was getting some houses. We was getting a few little cars, and we was all integrated into these other communities, and we was getting some jobs, and shit, we got beside ourselves, people. We forgot what we really need to do. And that is we need to continue to march on to make sure that our people still needed to get all things that belong to us, such as land, such as our reparations, such as the anti-hate crime bill. We still needed to work on that because racism was never gone. It was never gone because they signed that civil rights bill and the voting rights bill. It was not gone, people. They just did that to try to hold you off. That's all it was. It was just what they call that? It was symbolism. Really, that's all it was. This is all white people have ever done in this country. It's symbolism to basically try to hold you off, to get your mind off the mission. And then while you still think, oh yeah, we are solidarity now, we equal, right? They're working behind the scenes to find ways to dismantle everything. And to make sure that you continue to stay at the bottom of the totem pole. This is why we got to forget the African American name. It's over. As DJ always say, it's over. And now it's family. Over. There you go. And now it's all about Black American, Negro, freedmen, non-immigrant group. Now that is the name that I prefer that we call ourselves, non-immigrant group, because we need people to understand that we are the non-immigrant Blacks or melanated group in this nation, okay? So they don't continue to want to mix us in with the African diaspora, melanated other Blacks that want to pretend to be us. So that's why you hear me say Black American, Negro, freeman, non-immigrant group, because we are the only group in this country that's not of immigrant status. Everybody else are immigrants. And that's what I got to say about all of them. We are the only group that is in the non-immigrant status. And I'm going to land right there.
That's a pretty long name. What? And shout out to Extreme X. I see him over there on YouTube. Shout out to Extreme X. He says, "What's up to you as well, DJ?" What was that name you said, Professor? Because that was a pretty long name. You said, now say it again.
Black American, Negro, freedmen, non-immigrant group. Now the non-immigrant part of that is in parentheses because that's the status that we are in. Okay. Non-immigrant group, so that would be in parentheses. That's what we need to be calling ourselves. We really just need to call ourselves anything, because remember, with the whole African American name, that was basically put out there to make us be an immigrant status group. That's why that was put out there. That's why white people wanted us to have that name. Okay, and Barack Obama, of course, didn't help the situation because he completely came in and removed anything that had Negro in it, right? So see, this man didn't even help her. But then again, he's not one of us anyway. He's one of the others. You know, if you really want to just tell the truth, he's one of them. Shit. I mean, but so we, and let's just put this out here too, by the way. We have never had a Black American president, by the way. Never. So I want y'all to understand, even though we probably thought he was, just remove that from your mind. We have never had a Black American president, a true Black American president, okay? So unfortunately, maybe one day we'll get one in there, but this sap sucker that we had up in there, he killed everything for us. But anyway, that's what it is, Toto. That's why I'm saying that we need to specify who we really are. We are Black American, Negro freeman, non-immigrant group. Because remember, that's why they did the African American name, to throw us in or lump us in with the immigrant folks. That's why.
Now, if I can remember, didn't last year, the year before, they had with the OMB, weren't they supposed to be deciphering some of these names and everything else like that, kind of fine tuning and everything else like that? Because I know you had a bunch of different groups. You had Asians and you had other groups and stuff like that want to be identified separately. I think Island Pacificers or whatever you call it. You just had a bunch of different groups. Some groups in the Arab community and everything else that wanted to kind of be split up even more. So I thought they was also trying to do that for Black people and Black group as well too. Now, I think I saw a post from somebody where they were saying that in California that they're going to be trying to even split up, these groups even more so as well too. Like I don't know if you have. Maybe you have Black American and then you have African American and Caribbean American. I'm not exactly sure how they're talking about doing it, but I could have sworn I saw a post like that as well too. So if anybody knows about, you heard that, DJ?
No, we was actually doing that. I'm not sure if you remember. We kind of fell off that subject, but this is what I was saying to you. We need to get a couple of sisters that was doing it shout out to the reparations perspective. You know what I mean? And Sister Tansy and Ashan, they were actually instrumental in speaking on it. But it's like, it's really our people, bro, that was very ignorant and not understanding what the sisters was trying to tell us. You know what I mean? Hey, look, it don't matter if you want to call yourself an African American or Black American. You could put that under one roof, like the AAPI community, Asian American Pacific Islander, which consists of Filipinos to Chinese. So it's like, hold up a minute, we could get reparations today if we just roll with this punch. Nobody listened to them. So, now 2020 census has passed. We'll see you in 2030, and maybe we could come back and talk about it again. And then the census, or excuse me, the OMB, which is the census, but Office of Management Budget, they did come back and say, hey, look, we want more clarification on it, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. No one moved on it. I'll put out tweets. You could go look at my search engine or whatever it is, how you search a personal profile, and type in OMB gang. OMB gang, hashtag OMB gang, bro. That's us. Freeman, Black American, African American. Well, we ain't African, we understand that, but that's what you're calling us, though. A person that's coming from Africa, like Elon, you're not African American in the sense of chattel slavery goes. Because we understand it. But back to what you're saying, if I don't believe in the slave patches or not, I ain't all the way Dan Calloway. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the homie, you know what I'm saying? But people was coming here, regardless if they was sometimes forced or at free will. Let's just be logical about that. You know what I'm saying? Some people were coming here under force, and some came free will, especially after slavery was over with. Henceforth, back to the breeding farms. America had breeding farms. They were supposed to, your great-great-great to have sex with your great-great-great. This is how you were born. You know what I'm saying? Or your parents was born, your grace was born. Unfortunately, and it's effed up, and it's messed up, and it's savagery, and we want our reparations, a.k.a. 40 acres in the mule, or BKA 40 acres in the mule, because that will be our inheritance today. So you got Negroes out here that don't want you obtaining reparations because they feel you're going to be above them now, or you don't need them now. Like hold on, just some of these Negroes that we know that's in our heritage, ethnicity, all this other stuff, they slave drivers themselves. This is why a lot of us got to grow with the OGs. You know what I mean? Telling us to do the right thing, but you ain't trying to sit down either and let a person lead. So it's like, hey, we got problems in our community, man. So to back up what you said before too, to go back about first generation borns and all this other stuff, they saying they Black. Nah, you're Black, whatever it is your parents is. Because like I said, I was talking to you earlier. Hey, I was at this little business seminar thing or whatever. And let me get out of this little background maybe so I can see y'all while I'm talking to y'all. Feel weird. So I was in this little business seminar thing just last week, and it was everybody there was melanated. I'm not gonna say Black. So because you got melanated skin, don't make you a knack. You know what I'm saying? So be proud of who you are. So this one Haitian dude, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I lived all over this country, but when I go to the South, and I tell Black Americans or whatever, that I'm a Haitian American, I get gripe for that or whatever, and they be like, and they give me pushback saying like, oh, well, you think you're better than us, all this other stuff. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, nah, my people, they ain't had to never deal with your people. They don't understand the 30, 40 year, 50 year history of y'all coming here because you ain't always been here. You ain't always been here, no matter where y'all coming from now. You ain't always been here. Y'all just got here in the mid-80s, late 70s, mid-80s for sure, all throughout the 90s when y'all start coming here. And let's not remember how y'all was coming here, wagging your finger at us back then, representing your flags and your countries, putting your country in your cars. You had it in the ensign, the flag holders, all that other stuff. Yeah, y'all been telling us who y'all are and telling us, oh, we ain't got no culture and all this other stuff. That's why a joker like Tether Rhymes could say this stuff. Or Fat Joe, can easily say he half Black and Latinos invented 50% of hip hop because we ain't been gatekeeping lately. A lot of our Black brothers and sisters that used to do this gatekeeping up here in New York, they dead and gone. Locked up for life. Drug gang. Murderers, you know what I'm saying? Got told on whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? They ain't chin-checking nobody in the street. These new cats, they want to be on the court with these folks. Nah, B, they ain't what it is because they ain't never been on the court with you like that. You know what I mean? It ain't got nothing to do with Black Benji, if you understand what I'm talking about. ain't got nothing to do with Black Benji. Know your history, man. You know what I mean? Because if you listen to what our ancestors and elders of the Black space were saying, they saying, yo, we was beating these jokers up, straight up, no matter the race. You know what I'm saying? Black Americans was whooping everybody because y'all was disrespecting us up here. We just trying to go to the club. I just got flogged, just got paid Friday night. You know what I'm saying? You want to fight me on the way to the club because I'm trying to pass through the Italian neighborhood? Trying to pass through the Jewish neighborhood? The Spanish, Hispanic, Latino neighborhood? Y'all want to bang me? We all going to the same club, bro. Well, we just got to fight. Boop, boop, boop. This is why they don't play with us. Because they know. Box game, 52 blocks, all that. We getting beat up. Straight up. And this is why you got jokers that got gangs. You know, we can go on and on about the history of not wanting to call yourself an African American. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the OMB thing, back to that, to stay on topic, we done missed our opportunity. I see you in 2030. Maybe we could, pre-talk about it until then, but we should have the checks coming in every month, every year. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to be right. So this is why, hey, man, I'm going to be quiet in the background. It's just Bill, but go ahead, man. Shout out to the room. Share the room. Make sure y'all come up on the largest curated news on the web, newstotal.com. Get your subscription up. Come up to fundedsocially.com. We live over there. News Total is the curated news on Funded Socially. Get over there. Make an account. Because when we get off of action, I going to be homeless when they boot your ass off in the story. You know what's up?
All right. Shout out to everybody coming up in the space as well, too, guys. Make sure y'all go ahead and retweet the space out as well, too. I want to hear from some of the people up in the space as well, too. What's your opinion on this? If you guys got anything you want to say, definitely feel free to come on up here. Mackie Samuels on YouTube, I guess he says Legacy Black American. So I guess that would be the name that Mackie believes, I guess, should be used for Black Americans. We had a space about 3 years ago, and that thing was it was me, DJ, and I know Irie. We all hosted that space. It was a pretty good space as well too, and that's when Irie really got on the Negro thing that night. That he really he really doubled down on the Negro. We was talking about what name would suit Black Americans going forward, and nobody really could come to an agreement. I know I said Black American, and he said Negro Black American. So you had 4 or 5 different names and stuff that was out there as well too. As a matter of fact, Trouble, I saw she posted something as well too, and I just put it up in the Jumbotron. And it says California. This is from the CBM Newswire. It says California lawmakers to vote on a bill requiring Black demographic data be broken down by ethnic groups. So that's what I thought I saw that from somebody on it. So shout out to Troubles. So that's what I was saying. And I thought that California was doing something about, trying to break down this even more. So I would assume, and I've never been to California, so I'm not familiar with the actual ethnic groups within Black out there. I'm sure you have some Caribbean folks, and I'm sure you, of course, Black Americans. I'm sure you probably have some from the Pacific and everything else out there as well too. But I thought that I saw that California is one of the actual states that was talking about breaking this stuff down as well too. Shout out, I see Original up here. Shout out Cognitive too. I don't know if he's still in the space, but shout out to Cognitive for the donation on Cash App as well too. Go ahead, DJ, and like I said, let me. See, we got the OG Original up here. Original, what's going on with you, DJ? We're gonna get back to you, but let me get to Original.
Yes, peace, Black Power, and Black American and lineage-based preparation. Yeah, California, yes, they've done that, but you know what though? I think it may have been in New York, whereby these other groups, these melanated groups, they had. I think it's been going on for several years in New York, but they have been they delineated from us. And see, again, like what DJ was saying about the Haitian guy. Yeah, we really didn't know them. The only thing we knew about them was voodoo. People they was kind of like sideways about trying to affiliate with them. But I think we should just retire, African American, because these Africans they technically don't really accept us. Now they've been trying to use us, just like what just happened with the Essence thing, how they were planning on using our buying power to secure something for Nigeria. And black folks like, oh, hell no, you're not going to pimp us like this. That ain't going to happen. And so, these people, they're just grifters. They want to come in and take advantage of us and then talk about us on the slide and act like, and they're bad about saying we ain't got no culture. But then they turn around and they want to exploit our culture. So if we ain't got no culture, then stay away from us. Let us do what we do. And so now I think it has gotten to a point now whereby the majority of black people just saying, forget it. We're not, you do you and we'll do us. We have survived this long without any support from you. And we think we can handle it the rest of the way. So I think that it's going, and I'll say that too, New Stoner. See, remember, it's been about, what was it, about a year or so ago, when Smokey Robinson said in a video, don't call him African American. He said because to call him an African American, it takes away from the creative genius that we created in this country. And I do believe that's why they're coming after Smokey right now, because they see him as throwing us some type of lifeline to say, yeah, we just call ourselves Black American, and we got freedmen, and and we gonna get Negro back and this, that, and whatever. But see, they gave us that term African American. We did not devise that term ourselves. And so now when you got people, when they're identifying as FBA and other formats that we thought of ourselves, that has ego crackers pissed off. And so they want to be able to identify us, always switch something. But now that you got some of the melanated immigrants, even some of them, they're trying to say that they're African American, or they first generation Black American, and these people have never identified. Something is up when they're starting trying to identify with us. See, we tried to be their friend. They didn't want that. And so now that we said, okay, fine, you go your way, we go our way. Now they're trying to tether on to us once again to say that, well, we all came from Africa, okay, but your attitude towards me has been janky. And so now I've decided that I don't want anything else to do with you. And so now they're getting all twisted and everything, because we don't want anything to do with them. And they coming from an exploited perspective, because technically they don't see us as being a part of them. They ally according to their tribe. I think there's like over 3,000 tribes in Africa. And they don't get along with each other. You got the drug dealing president of Nigeria. No black population. No black. He's attacking the brother in Burkina Faso, and I think the president of Kenya and some of those elected officials, they are attacking him too. And he's trying to get control of the mineral wealth so he can, give people free education, free healthcare, and all this other stuff. But these people, they got these colonized minds, and because they come from this tribal perspective, they can't see beyond that. But there are quite a number of people, especially young people in Africa, they're rocking with President Traore. And I don't blame them. If you can get there, help him do whatever he needs to get done. But that's part of the problem, because they come over here and they see themselves. They don't see themselves as being connected to us, because they were telling us, well, I'm more African American than you are. Well, I'm a real African American. All that kind of foolishness that they would say to us. And so now that we've decided that, okay, fine, you do you, we'll do us. Now they want us to try to stay connected to us, but we see now that we can't allow that to happen, because we don't know if they're friend or foe. And so we'll just leave them on the foe side, because we can't trust them. We just cannot trust them. Because they get into position like that old, what's that old Ancho boy? He gonna make all kind of disparaging remarks about us and this, that, and whatever. And how a lot of them would say we don't take advantage of opportunities, but we've taken advantage of opportunity. But what they fail to understand is that when we get something, like what Professor said earlier, as soon as we get it done, they're already trying to sabotage it. So don't look at us, and nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that aspect of it. That like when we got when we got civil rights, then they instead of it being just for black folks, they made it based on sex, race, and national origin, throwing everybody in there. Then we got affirmative action. Then they made white women, which they said there are more women on the planet than men. They made white women a minority. And then they made up this ambiguous term minority, so to ensure that we did not benefit from our pain and suffering. So now that we're coming out defining ourselves, it has Democrat, Republican, and everybody going crazy. They say, oh no, what these black folks are doing? It's just like in that book, Negroes Were Done. When Robert F. Williams, they was pulled over by the police, they got out with their gun, the police got out with their gun, and old white boy said, oh Lord, what we gonna do? Say the Negroes got guns. So I just said we stay on this track of identifying ourselves and delineating. It's okay if there are some melanated people that we can work with, fine, we can work with you, but just understand you cannot identify as us because you've shown that you cannot be trusted. And I'll land.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, original. Shout out to my man Andre for wishing me a return. Yeah, Andre came back last week and did a space. Been working on the website. Been really, really busy working today. Matter of fact, we changing some stuff up there, so that's why I have not been posting a bunch of content this week, guys, because I don't want to have to go ahead and change stuff around as well too. So within the next week or two, we should be back to our regular posting schedule here on X as well too. But we're doing a lot of work on the site right now, trying to get everything futuristic as much as possible. So shout out to everybody that supports the platform as well too, and shout out to my man Simply Rick as well too for the contribution on Cash App. Go ahead, DJ. I know we got a bunch of other people in here that love to talk as well too. Now come on up here, guys. We want to hear what you got to say. Original, before I kick it to DJ, I want to ask you something too, because we always go back to Jesse Jackson. Has Jesse Jackson said anything? Once he kind of brought the African American. I'm not going to say he created the term or whatever, because we know it had been around, whatever. But once he kind of championed it, did he say anything? Did he give his reason for trying to go ahead and popularize it and pretty much push it towards the mainstream for Black Americans? Did he ever give an explanation why he felt the need that Black Americans need to identify as African American over, say, Black? I know people say, well, Black is just a color and this and that or whatever. And a lot of people say that, being tied to, I guess when you look at the Irish Americans and the Italian Americans and the Japanese Americans, say, you know what, we have to go ahead and you need to be tied to an actual nation or a continent or something like that in terms of, your heritage. Was that the whole idea behind, Jesse Jackson and the actual, African American term as well too? Especially when you look at it to the point that, those groups that I just mentioned, the Irish, the Italian, and a number of Asian groups as well too, most of the time they're people directly came straight from the actual places, Ireland or Asia or whatever, or they were a generation or two removed from it or something like that. In terms of Black people who were 4, 5, 6 generations, quote unquote, removed from the entire African continent. So was there ever really a reason why Jesse Jackson felt the need to go ahead and kind of push that forward?
That was the reason that you just cited right there. It was because they was trying to say that Black Americans need some sort of a landmass to tie themselves to. And as a matter of fact, I don't really think even a lot of the African really saw us as being a quote-unquote African American. Because like I said earlier, a lot of them, even back in the day, they were saying, well, I'm more African American than you are. Well, I'm a real African American and you're not. And so it was trying to give us some sense of identity, but I think it flopped because a lot of people, they just continued to call themselves Black American or Negro or whatever. Some of the older people they kept Negro. They said they was not an African American. And so, but see, Jesse did a lot of crazy stuff though, because I think when I really look at it, I think he did more harm to us than the so-called good that some people say he did. Because one of the things that he also did, he was saying that he was steering, particularly Black men away from the trade. Like he was saying that a Black man can work with his mind. He don't have to work with his hands, like Dr. King said, if you're going to be a ditch digger, be the best ditch digger out there. But he started doing crazy stuff like that. And that's why there's not a lot of Black men that are electricians, plumbers, and so forth, right? I saw him on social media with his brother. His son just graduated from high school. But he said his son is going into an apprenticeship to be a plumber. And see, a lot of people, they were looking at jobs like that as being less than, because of, you might get a little dirty or whatever, but so what? If you making good money, what's the problem? And so I think he did us more harm than good, because you need plumbers, you need electricians, you need people, you need brick masons, someone that know how to lay brick properly. And so even I saw a video where it was showing that it was some high school, they had classes on masonry and other things, but there was not that many Black students in there. I said partly because they've been brainwashed away from that type of work. They see that some people see construction work as being grimy work, but it pays good money. And see, so Jesse, that was the reasoning behind it, but as I say, hindsight is 2020. I think the Democrats decided for him that they would change our name to African American. And even when they changed it, a lot of people, they were like, that don't sound right. It just didn't sound like a lot of people. But that's what happened basically from what I remember. And he did that, and because the Democrats told him to, because these people, they don't have they can't think for themselves. They have to go with the Democratic or the Republican platform. So they're not really doing us any favors in our land.
Appreciate that, Original. We got a couple new hands up. DJ, let me get to the new hands, and then we're going to go ahead and get back to you. Seventh, go ahead, and then Rock, I got you next.
Hey, good evening. I just want to bring a few things up. I don't know if y'all talked about, but that New York Times school.
Hey, your phone kind of you sound.
Water.
Yeah, we're mentioning, but you sound like you might be in the Matrix. Are you on the headset or anything? Or
No, it's just probably my phone. I'm getting 2 bars. So
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, John McWhorter. I don't know if y'all know this about the guy. He's a fucking Sambo. Fuck him.
Watching language.
Yeah, don't drop any F-bombs on here, man. But go ahead and speak. But yeah.
And close out all your other apps except for Twitter. Close out your other apps. You'll get some more bars on your phone. Close your other apps out. Just keep Twitter up there, man. Don't be laughing right while you next with the tech support. What's up, my dude? What's up?
Yeah, you got it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's against reparations. Don't trust that guy. He says that if we get reparations, Black people would be playing by a different set of rules. Well, yeah, we under a different set of rules. We're in the system of white supremacy. So what's the big deal? That guy's a Sambo. Don't trust that guy. Like I say, man, he may have, a stop clock is right two times a day, but he works for the Manhattan Institute, which is a white supremacist think tank. Nah, don't trust that guy. He's no good. That's all I want to say.
You talking about Jesse Jackson?
No, he's talking about the article. The guy that wrote the article.
Yeah, John. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Don't.
Language.
Okay, I'm sorry, but like I know this dude. He's no good. Like I said, he's a Sambo. He works for a white supremacist. So don't get behind that guy, because like I say, he doesn't. He's not for us. That's all I want to say. I'm gonna yield the mic.
All right, appreciate that. So it's a long time no see, but we got my man Rock Roller up here. Rock Roller, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, News Total? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What's up, DJ? Everybody in the room. I'll be real fast, bro. Y'all know I'm very succinct when I come on stage. The term African Americans has been on life support for decades, bro. Nobody in the Black American community never wanted to rock with that term. It's been on life support for years. But that Essence Festival pretty much pulled the plug on it, bro. It pulled the plug on that term. So now you got a bunch of people running around this app holding these spaces about African American, that term, trying to resurrect and trying to resuscitate. You know what I'm talking about. Trying to pretty much resurrect that term. But I'm going to tell you like this. That term is dead. It's buried. It's over. And these folks that are running around trying to keep that term going, they might as well just forget it, bro. And I'm going to land right there.
Yes, sir. Good to hear from you, Rock Roller. Appreciate you coming up here as well, too. Rock Roller, he ain't going to be up here long. He comes up here and say what he got to say, and then he's pretty much gone. I say I got my man Black Pressure, and you done left the gym, Pressure. So what's up? Because I saw somebody respond to your tweet. They want to know if you did your genealogy. Go ahead, Pressure, because I guess you was the comment you said. So I definitely want you to go ahead and touch up on that as well, too.
What's up, my brother? You good?
Yes, sir.
Man, I ain't talked to you in a minute. What's up, everybody in the family? What's going on?
What's up,
so
man?
Check this out. I had a couple of people respond to me in the tweet you posted, and I've said this in the rooms. I make it clear that what I am and where my ancestors came from, I don't hide it. But the people that responded to me in the room, they're juveniles. I'm not even going to respond to them. Anyway, I'll say this. I'm going to start out with a soft hand. Because like I say, the majority of the people in the room, we're family here, and we could disagree. We could even bite each other's head off. Because like I say, we family. It doesn't matter. And the only person I really like to pick with is Tro. That's the only person I pick with because I actually enjoy her cussing me out. But then other than that, so like I say, I'm going to start out with a soft hand. So check this out. And News, I want to ask you something before I start. Is the conversation, and I might be being over analytical. If I am, I'll just relinquish the mic. Is the conversation about, are we talking about what moniker we accept, or are we talking about are Black people of African ancestry or African genetics? What's the conversation?
No, it's not about ancestry so much. It's more about the, like you said, the moniker of what we accept.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. Okay. So I can save my whole spiel I was going to go through, but I'll say this. I have some other stuff to say, but I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get off the mic. And like I said, it'll just be a carbon copy of my tweet. Like I'm fortunate enough to, I still have both my parents, and I'm actually one of the, few people I was fortunate enough. I knew one member from each set of my great grandparents. I was young, but I have memories of them. And like I said in the tweet, I have 0 Native American, I have 0 indigenous, 0 Indian ancestry in my blood. And I make this clear, and I don't care who doesn't like it. My ancestors are from the continent of Africa, but like you said, that's not the debate. I will not so say debate. I'll say the conversation. And like I said in the tweet, I believe in science. I believe in history. I believe in anthropology. I believe in archaeology. I believe in religious texts and oral traditions. I literally, and like I said, I still have both my parents. I knew my grandparents, and I knew one member of each set of my great grandparents. there's never been a whisper up to this point. I'm 46 years old. There's never been a whisper of any Comanche, Apache, Cherokee, Creek, anything, any other ethnic group in my family that I'm related to. And I've said this before, I've never did my DNA, but my sister has done it. My sister spent a bunch of money and did it. And just like probably every black person in America, we were like 88% West, the genetic makeup of a West African. So, but like I said, you said that's not the conversation. That's fine, but I'll talk to the conversation. I have no problem with the moniker myself of African American, because if somebody wants to use a moniker that is going to denote my ancestry and my nationality, I don't have a problem with it. Like I say, this is nothing to declare warfare about. So, but like I say, I'll say some other stuff, but I'll mute up and listen right now.
Now, Pressure, I gotta ask you this here, because I know you said you had zero ancestry. Now, just being. You want me to tell you the truth?
Because my sister did it. I had like 0.8% Native American in my ancestry. So that's pretty much Native American. Right?
And you had a tap of white in there. We had to, because of chattel slavery. You had to have
it. Yeah, it was like whatever, almost the high teens percent of European ancestry in my blood.
Okay, because I'm gonna say, because I'm a dark skinned dude too, but I look at
I'm Crayola brown. I'm not like dark, like Sudanese dark.
No, I'm not Sudanese dark or anything, but I mean I'm dark skinned by by Black Americans standards and stuff like that. I'd be considered a dark skinned man. I'm not on the level of Wesley Snipes dark, but I'm dark skinned.
Yeah.
But
let me say this too, Noob. Let me say this too. I've heard Professor speak, and Professor's my brother. Straight up, me and Professor could disagree. I've heard Professor say that he has Native American ancestry or something like that. And guess what? Professor's my brother. I would never, ever debate Professor about, what ethnic groups he's related to. I think I've heard some other people that, regular family in the room say they have Native American ancestors. I would never debate somebody or call somebody out. But like I said before, we're adults, and I've embraced my adulthood. You know what? We don't have to believe the same thing. And it's painless. It doesn't draw blood. I don't have to declare war when I tell somebody genetically my ancestors are African. And that's my spiel. I'm mute up.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I don't deny. I've never said that I don't have African blood in me. My grandma, she's gone now, of course, but growing up, they always said that she had Native American, Indian in her family, and this and that or whatever. I never heard my grandma ever say she was anything other than a Black woman. She never said.
That's what's up.
She never said I'm Indian, I'm half Indian, I'm a quarter Indian, I'm this. She never said I whatever tribe or whatever. Only thing she ever looked at herself was a Southern Black woman. That's all she was, and that's all. She didn't know anything about any place. Nothing about Africa, anything else like that. She just was a Black woman. So and I've never heard anybody in our family, even though they might say, well, she's got a little bit of this, that. Everybody considered Black or whatever. So I know we all have been over here in this land for hundreds of years. We're gonna have, whether it's a tiny bit or it's a significant amount, we're gonna have some kind of admixture just because of the close proximity with slavery and some of these other groups as well too. So, but like I say, she never looked at herself as anything other than a Black woman. So that's how we always looked at it. That's what she always told us. She never pretended to be anything else, anything like that, whatever. So, that's what it was for us. I see we got a new speaker up here, so let me go ahead.
But real quick, when I said I was gonna pop my lightsaber, DJ alluded to it, but me and DJ, that's my first cousin, so I don't even care if DJ says it. But what I was saying I was gonna pop my lightsaber. You've heard me issue this challenge probably 3 or 4 times in spaces when we've had these conversations that were a carbon copy or somewhat similar. I've always maintained You can call yourself whatever race or ethnic group you want, but just for the Dane Calloway disciples, I said, you say that you've always been in America and you're not related to Africans and you had nothing to do with the slave trade. That's fine. Like I say, we don't have to agree, but my open challenge I've issued at least 3 or 4 times, and like I always tell you, News, nobody's going to ever answer. There's no people group alive. There's been no people group that ever existed that didn't have progenitors, that didn't descend from another people group. If you're not related, if you don't have African genetics in your blood, what race of people did you descend from? Other than that, you fell out of a tree, and I'll mute up and listen.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to Unicorn, and then I'm going to go ahead and get to, oh, Lord, we got King Armstrong up here. Unicorn, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm a little shy. I'm going to try to do the best I can, okay? So, for me, I think, well, don't think. Come on. I got to get it out. I'm so shy. So my grandpa was mulatto, right? But my mom would never fuck. Excuse me.
Okay. I hope you're not coming up here to troll. Don't come up here saying that. So let's watch our language up here. But go ahead, Unicorn. I'm going to give you another shot.
I've been in these African spaces too much last week. I've been watching y'all. Go ahead, though. I ain't saying you. I'm just saying.
No, I don't do that. I'm not a troller.
We're not dropping any F-bombs up in here, but go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just saying that my grandpa was a mulatto. I married a black man. I got a black daughter. I don't really know you guys or whatever, but
that black man is black. What, if you don't mind saying for the context? Black Jamaican, black American.
No, he's black American like me. He's black American like me. And we were married for 28 years with one kid. So that's pretty bigly. I feel insulted about trolling. I don't do that. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. No offense, but we in this space, we don't drop F-bombs. So I thought maybe you were coming up here to troll, but thank you for coming up and speaking anyways. We appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get to King Armstrong. Don't come up here with all the cursing either, man, but go ahead. You got it.
What's up, Louis Soda? How you doing, brother? I ain't seen you in a minute.
Yeah, man, I've been working.
Yeah,
I've been working on the site, man. I've been really, really busy. But what's going on with you?
What's up, family? Peace. See, look, here's the thing, right? If we're talking about, listen, the only thing we should be focusing on right now is American politics, right? And it goes back so far, right? And this is why people are saying, do your lineage, right? Understand who your people are, right? Because if you think that you have any tie to this land, right, and you are not of the indigenous bloodlines, right, the kings, the queens, the emperors of this bloodline, right, of these bloodlines here of this land, right, then guess what? You really don't have no say in our politics. Now, we understand how these people, they cosplayed, right? Now it's being fixed, it's being addressed, right? We understand how these people infiltrated our tribes, right? Here in America, on this land. We understand that, right? We understand that, if you don't understand which womb, your mothers and fathers come out of, right? On the construction or the foundation of this land, right? That's the only argument, right? Y'all can sit here and talk about what you want to call yourselves or whatever. Guess what? You cannot be no other than who your people that came before you are, right? So guess what? Jesse Jackson, guess what? He's the card carrying who, right? Okay, now guess what? Just because he spun niggas into that African American moniker, right, doesn't mean that he know who he is, right, or doesn't know who he is. Guess what? He played a game, right? He played a game with niggas. Hold on, Wesson. Hold on, Wesson. I know. Hold on. Here. Hold on.
You want us to let you get to you want to
hold on, listen, right? If you think that any of these people, right, that they're talking about reparations and how to go about reparations, right? If you think that any of these people are going to actually get reparations on this land and have no indigenous ties to this land, you're a goddamn lie. You're fooling your own people, right? Because guess what? We're talking about the crown mothers and the mothers of this land, which they tried to wipe out of history, but guess what? They couldn't do it, right? They couldn't do it. Because all of our tribal lands on this land, all of our tribal people on this land, right, has always been maternal lines. Either it's the father or the mother, or both, right? So when we talk about do your genealogy and understand who your people are, you can sit here and scream from the bullhorn all day about your reparative repair. I don't care if you're from the north, the south, the east, the west, on this land, right? On this land. So guess what? Now the Africans is saying, right? Y'all want reparations. Y'all cosplaying your own reparations because guess what? Y'all supposed to be African Americans, right? That's what y'all supposed to be, right? Supposed to be, right? So guess what? Peep the spin plays. Peep the spin. Yeah. I don't know how y'all ain't peeping the spin plays. I don't know why y'all not peeping the spin plays because guess what? There's nothing that moves or goes on this land or under it without our ancestors. Nothing.
right. Appreciate.
I don't know which part y'all not understanding. I don't know which part y'all not getting.
Hey,
on this land, America, the American land, Turtle Island. We've been drinking.
Yeah, I know. King Armstrong, we got to go ahead. We're going to come back to you. Let us get to the other two hands up, and then we'll work it back round to you. So let us get to those other two hands. Let me get to Make It Make Sense, and then we're going to get to Denmark, and then we'll get back around to you. Get back to you, King Armstrong.
Tomorrow when you show up, get some coffee, bro.
Make It Make Sense. Go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing?
I'm okay, man. I appreciate the space. I appreciate what I learned from today. Thank the Almighty for that. But I want to address the title in itself. I look at it. I'm gonna tell you why I think that it won't survive. I don't think that it'll survive because when I look at the culture that was developed that came through slavery. You know, it's a unique culture, and it's a culture that stands alone. In that culture, you know, exists something totally new that everybody draws from. The reason I don't think African American will be a name that survived is because the people in itself, the names itself, both African and American, we know are not genealogy-wise, you know, genetic-wise connected to the land. So for part of that reason, I don't think that the name in itself will last, even if we try to, you know, attach it to ourselves. But back to my point of coming through slavery, I think slavery in itself, or the culture that came through slavery, had a divine purpose attached to it. And it's kind of hard for me to see that African American, that title will be attached to that divine situation that, you know, I believe that, you know, came through slavery and the culture that has developed out of that. That being said, it's hard to gatekeep that particular culture in itself. So I'm kind of addressing that too, because that comes up about gatekeeping that particular culture. And it's kind of hard to gatekeep a new culture that people constantly, drawing from and learning from and speaking about. So I don't think the African-American name will last in the future. And I'm going to land with that.
All right. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you for coming on up here. Denmark, how you doing tonight? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, good evening, News Toter, and WPI, Professor Banff, and the rest of the room. Good evening. I don't ascribe to the marker African American, but it's important that we, in my opinion, that we don't let it go, so to speak. I do some research every now and then, especially on Black history and all that type stuff. And it seems like everything that I be looking at, I was doing some research about some cities that were built here in the United States after slavery by Black Americans. And it say African Americans did this. When it talks about inventions and stuff like that, African Americans. So my concern is that if we just say, okay, we're going to let go of African Americans and we're going to let these other people just go ahead and pick it up because we're tired of defending it or for whatever other reason there is, then they win. I think that that's a critical piece in our ethnic erasure, because we are already archived throughout history as African American. And
that's not true. You're not archived as African.
Hey, don't cut the man off, man. Get on your mic.
Put me a shot, bro. Put me a shot.
Sorry about that, Denmark. Go ahead and finish your what you were saying.
Yeah, no. Well, what I've read says African American. I don't read anything that says I'm Indian, but I've read African American when it comes to who invented the motor and different towns that were built and all this here type stuff.
Okay,
but anyway,
you're African American. Hold on, I want to ask the question. I want to have a dialogue.
No, man, you're not finna cut this man off talking about asking the question. Let this man finish speaking. You just got through rambling. Now you won't let this man finish saying what he's got to say.
All right, brother, go ahead. We follow each other. We like each other. Like, I speak to bro. Right?
That's cool. That's cool, man. Come on, now you're being disruptive. He can't finish what he's saying. Now, come on, we don't want to drop you down.
Send it to the shadow realm. Give me the thumbs up or down, bro. You want me to send it to the shadow realm? Let me know.
He come out that mic one more time. Drop him.
Yeah.
My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't care for African American. I think the term in and of itself doesn't do us any good, but at the same time, we have to be careful. Like, we have to go back and rewrite the history books. In the Congressional Library, we're referred to as African American through, so we would have to go back and change all of that there stuff. If we picked up something else, let's say we picked up like Negro is recorded in history as well. Negro and then sometimes Black American, but the majority of it says African American for some strange reason. But if we picked up something else, then we just have to go back and change everything or change everything prior to letting it go. That's the dilemma, as far as I see it. I don't want some Bantu who claims to be African American or some Elon Musk 100 years from now saying, hey, yeah, look at what we did, us African Americans, we did this. My great grandma was African American from Swaziland or some crap like that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, that's my concern with it.
And I feel you on that. I would think, especially with technology and everything else and the archives and stuff like that, because I'm gonna be honest, like I say, for most of us that's in our 40s in this space, growing up, when I remember when we started elementary school and everything, we weren't called African American. Nobody was calling us African American. It wasn't until maybe towards the end of elementary, going to middle school, all of a sudden,
if you're not African American, then who are you?
Oh my God, this guy.
You know exactly. Hold on, peep game. Y'all ain't peeping game.
This guy here, he's just not. I mean, man, y'all need to lay off some of this liquor here, man. God damn, we can't even have a conversation up here.
151 have a prayer. 151 have a prayer. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
straight,
man.
Straight no chaser, big. You know what I'm saying? You can't handle the truth, total.
You cutting the speak off. You cutting the host off. I mean, come on, man. Like, you can't even have a simple conversation up here. You done rambled on for I don't know how long. We had to go ahead and pass the mic around, and you still up here wilding out, man. Come on, like, damn, like, I mean, we grown men up here. But yeah, like I was saying, in school, in elementary school, because I started school in the 80s, the mid 80s and stuff like that. So we were, there was no African American. It wasn't towards the end, like almost going to like 1990 is really when it just started, that the whole African American thing just started to just explode. But, I think because a good portion of our history was centered around Negro and colored and black in this country as well too. Now people may write articles and stuff about events that happened in the past and put African American, which a lot of them do. They'll say, well, African Americans in 1930, they'll do stuff like that. But in 1930, when black people were accomplishing stuff in this country, nobody was calling them African Americans. They were either called colored, Negro, or blacks, and more than likely they was colored. They were probably a Negro or colored, So it wasn't really until the 60s that black really started to take off itself too. So really from about 1964, 5, 6, whatever, all the way up into like 1990, black became the actual the main name that we were called in this country. And then after that, like I say, and it's slow, even in the 90s, slowly African Americans started to come on and stuff like that. Because even for the longest, people were still like, "Hey, black." When somebody pointed out to somebody, when you heard a white person describe somebody, rarely in the 90s they say, "Oh, it was an African American." It was like, "Oh, that was a black person. It was black. Oh, he was black." So that's my only thing. I don't think we would have a hard time really, pinpointing our history and stuff like that because. We know Martin Luther King, we know Malcolm X, we know, Rosa Parks, all these people and stuff like that. When they were accomplishing everything in this country, they weren't considered African Americans. They were considered black or colored or Negro or whatever you want to. And if we go back to the old archives where you hear King and the rest of them speaking and stuff like that, they speak about Malcolm X talks about the black man in America. Dr. King talks about the Negro and everything else like that. So I don't really think, Elon Musk and then too, we're in the age of information, everything else like that now. All this stuff that they were able to hide and keep away from people for the longest. I don't think they'll be able to do that unless we have some kind of ice age and we just lose technology or something like that. There's no way in hell we're going to let like Elon Musk and his descendants and anything else like that and the rest of them that come over to, it was really us and this and that, especially when you start to see like some of the backlash with some of the things that we see recently right now in the past couple of years that you have other groups taking credit for things that Black Americans accomplished. Something as simple as hip hop had people up in the arms and stuff like that. We got everybody saying, "Oh, we really created hip hop and we taught y'all and this and that and all this other kind of stuff." And it really wasn't Jim Crow; it was Juan Crow and all. Like people, like Black people, like no, you're getting that pushback. So I don't personally think, we know history. We know that they're going to try to steal history anyways, because they've always tried to steal history, rewrite it, and make themselves as the creator of everything or whatever. But we're in this new age, this digital age and everything else like that. And we're just still in the infancy of the internet as well, too. Who knows what kind of monster the internet's going to be 100 years from now. Like I say, if life as we know is still going on this planet, hopefully no nuclear wars, anything like that. If life is still going on the way we know, then yeah, I can imagine technology would be much greater, and the way that we transmit information, everything, the way we keep information, I think would be great as well too. Denmark, go ahead, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get to the other speakers as well.
Hey, just real quick, Denmark. All right, so I brought up the conversation about the OMB and the 1870 census. So yeah, we ain't giving up the African American because we understand, no one is here denying the transatlantic slave trade. But the problem is, geographically, you're not an African. You feel what I'm saying? And that's where the problem lies at. Even with, like, again, total, like you said, the first gen, second gen, third gen born, they say they Black, but hold up, your parents are from the Caribbean somewhere, both of them. You You know what I'm saying? Born and raised, and they came over here and did whatever they did. No one's knocking that because y'all rightfully allowed to come in our neighborhood. I guess, again, we kind of made that so during the 1965 Immigration Reform Act. This is why I say we got to run that back. Back to the O&B thing again. This is why I'm saying you got to get them sisters up in here, man, to break this stuff down because they tried to tell us and we missed the opportunity. A real ill-mannered one. We should be getting a check right now. But hey, I guess we could pre-plan for 2030. Go ahead, Denmark. You got it, bro.
Hey, yep, absolutely good. That's good to know, man. You know, and so like me, I don't, consider anyone outside of those who are indigenous to the United States black. Now, I didn't say indigenous to the land. We're indigenous, and technically we are, but we're indigenous to the United States because our haploid group was literally created right here during the development of this country through the breeding farms and admixture and all that type of stuff.
I brought that up too, and I said you ain't an American if you ain't from 1776 to 1870.
Exactly.
I also mentioned the breeding farms, but go ahead.
Right, exactly. We're on the same page then. Good, great.
All that drunkenness from King, trying to get us drunk up here, so he throw us off, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got the weed. Go ahead, this weed.
Right. So yeah, I contrary to popular belief, I don't really have an issue with someone because they're an immigrant. I have an issue with people who attempt to obfuscate our identity. That to me is ethnic erasure, and I'm going to always push back against that. I remember when they were saying me no black, me Dominican, me Puerto Rican, me African, I remember that. But I think there's a psyop now that is designed to work towards our erasure as Black Americans. If everyone else can be me, then eventually I'm going to cease to exist. We're claimed to be about 40 million, 35 million, something like that there. And there is literally about well over 2 billion people that they're now saying and claim to be me. Eventually will be erased. And so I have to push back against any type of rhetoric that allows other people to claim my identity. But I appreciate this room, guys. Thank you. Thanks for the room.
Absolutely. Appreciate you coming on up here at Denmark as well, too. I know you used to be holding some spaces. I don't know if you still do, but I know you used to pack them in quite a bit as well, too. So shout out to you and thank you for coming up to speak tonight as well, too, bro. Let me go ahead and get to Pressure. Rather, before I get to you, let me get to the new speaker, Walter, and I'm going to get to you guys and we'll get back in the
Yeah. No, go ahead. No, me, it's no problem at all, man.
Walter, Water. I'm sorry, Water. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No problem. I'll be pretty quick. Thank you, co-host to the room. All right. The term African American, we already know whose term that has always been. We know the reference point, and that point is for Black Americans, the American Negro, as we would say. I believe, this is me, I think they kind of want us to abort the term African American in totality, right? They wanted us to throw it away and say, we don't leave it over there. You can do whatever you want with it, because that gains way for people to do what they want with our identity once again. Marking the Soil has something so great to say. He said, hey, we need to put that in a museum, with information behind it, the history on it, how it became and everything else. Me personally, guys, we always throwing away or sitting down things that we create, things that that are ours, basically. And somebody always pick it up again and then drop it down when they don't want it, and then pick it up and do what they want. But to truly be honest, that's our word. That's our identity. I feel like, this is just me, if your mother or great-grandmother or so on, Irishman, what's it called, Bahamian, or whatever you want to say, I think that's what you need to be called. You know you're not a Black American. You know you're not African American. You know this. You know that you have your own identity, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I stand with Black Americans when we say that is our term. You cannot use it. That was our identifier for Black Americans, and they did it in totality, as a whole, like that, because we didn't pinpoint, or we could not, quote unquote, as they would say, pinpoint exactly where one or maybe two of our ancestors came from. So, and they know that, and they're just trying to throw up or toss up everything so it can fall crazy, and we have to run around and get it. But as I end, I'm gonna say this: the way we fighting for our identity and everything else, that lets you know people don't like us the way we think we're liked or so on. Yes, they might like the fact that you can rap, or you came up with a rap song where you was the first one to skate backwards and then flip like we used to, and then go and all. Yeah, that's good and stuff. But I can't stand you. And I'm even seeing it, believe it or not, where I'm at when it comes to Alaska. Even though I see Black Americans and so on here, I see other groups here, they squad up quick and treat us very differently. Very. That's why I don't play that minority stuff. It's all a joke, and the joke is on us. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you coming on up here speaking. Water as well. Let me go ahead and get back to Pressure, and then Rock, I got you. Make It, I got you as well, too.
Share the room, y'all. Share the room, y'all.
Yeah, share the room. So, hey, News, check this out. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to slow walk this one, okay? It's not going to be hard. And like I always say, critical thinking is undefeated. There's going to be no academia involved in this. I have one request, though. Will you be my contemporary? Because I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions while I go down my spiel. Is that okay with you?
Hey, that's fine.
Okay. So check this out. This is for my Dan Calloway disciples, all right? So I'm gonna make a chart. I'm gonna split the chart in two, and I'm gonna juxtapose the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. So we'll start with let's start with Portugal, okay? So that's gonna be a country in southwestern Europe, right? If you like me, for dummies like me, if you make the math simple, Portugal is a little bit over 1,000 years old, right? That country is a little bit over 1,000 years old, right? The native language of Portugal is Portuguese. So far, have I told a lie that you know of?
No, you got it.
Okay. So, like I said, let's cross into the Western Hemisphere, and let's go to Brazil, right? It's a country on the east side of South America, right? So if, like I say, for dummies like me who are just average at math, let's say Brazil is, I want to say Brazil is about 250 years old as a country. That country is about 250 years old, right? Maybe a little less, but like about 250 years old. Right?
I couldn't pinpoint it, but I would think it was at least a couple hundred years old. I would assume.
Yeah, I would say at least that. I don't want to shortchange Brazil. That's why I said 250, but it's probably a little less, right? So you take a language. You take two different countries that have geographically have no relation. They're thousands of miles away from each other and separated by a body of water. And you take culturally, the people that lived in both countries, they had no familial connection with each other at all. Two different, I say races of people, right? So far, have I presented any misinformation, News?
No.
To your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, DJ Professor, y'all anything that y'all disagree with?
If
if I presented any misinformation, I know it's not my room, but feel free to step up.
And they could declare independence in 1822.
Okay, cool. So, like I said, you take a country that's a little bit over 1,000 years old, take another country that's 200 years old. News, this is what I want. Anybody feel like they can answer this? How did a language from Western Europe cross the water and become the native tongue of a language that was 5,000 miles away? How do you think that happened?
Well, they had to colonize them.
Well, but I'm saying, how did it arrive in the Western Hemisphere?
You say how did?
I know the answer.
Oh, you talking about
how did that language arrive in the Western Hemisphere?
Well, the Portuguese had to come over there.
Yeah, I'm saying that. And what mode did they take?
A boat.
Okay, so let's we're gonna put an asterisk by that and we're gonna move on. Okay. Let's go to Rome and Spain. So I know I said I wasn't gonna put academia in it, but just real quick. The original name was Spain. Before it was Spain, it was Iberia, right? So Spain and Rome, or Iberia and Rome, whatever you want to call it, roughly 3,000 years old. Probably a couple hundred years less, but like I say, for dummies like me, 3,000 years old, right? We know from grade school that Catholicism started in the Mediterranean, in Rome. That's where the Vatican is, right? We know from grade school that you go back to Western Europe, the Spanish language was spoken in Spain, right? So this is my question. Let's just jump back to the Western Hemisphere. You go to South America, you go to the Caribbean, you go to Mexico. Overwhelmingly, the language and religion in those places, the religion is Catholicism and the language is Spanish. News of just another, just like I say, I'm not going to make this hard. This is critical thinking. How did that religion and language cross the water and get to the Western Hemisphere?
Yeah, they traveled. I mean, the people had to bring it over.
I'm just saying, in what mode of transportation?
The only transportation you could have used back then would have been a boat.
Okay, I got one more before I get off the mic. Let's take England, right? You're talking about a country in Northern Europe, right? So far, any misinformation, just interrupt. You don't even, just interrupt me. A country in Northern Europe. We know that England itself is about 1,000 years old, maybe a handful less, but for dummies like me, England is about 1,000 years old. Now, we know that the language that's synonymous with England is English. Now, I know the Germanic tribes before spoke the Norse English, like the Berserkers or the Vikings. They spoke the Norse English, the English we wouldn't understand today, but they spoke the Proto-English. Then it moved to like the Middle English, kind of, we would understand some of it, but like the Quaker English that we speak today, or the modern English, that's the native tongue of England, right? So once again, a country in Northern Europe, right? How did that language become the native tongue of North America? How did you think it got over here?
By ship.
Thank you. So what I'm saying is you can point at least 5 different ethnicities of Caucasian people that could board a vessel, that could cross the Atlantic Ocean. They can bring themselves, supplies, their religion, and their language to this side of the world, right?
Yeah.
But you telling me black men in Africa were too stupid to do it, right? And also, just to put icing on the cake, those different ethnicities that crossed the water and brought their culture here, brought their culture here in the form of language and religion or whatever. Once again, they brought themselves, they brought supplies, they brought their religion, they brought their language. But news, it had to be an impossibility for them to put human cargo in those ships. That would be impossible. Now, they could take themselves, but human cargo, that's impossible. But I'll mute up and listen.
All right, appreciate that, Pressure. I guess Pressure's trying to prove his point about the transatlantic slave trade. Listen, I'm not somebody who denies that the transatlantic slave trade took place. Now we can dispute the actual numbers of people that was actually brought here to modern day America, but I've never been one to say it didn't take place and this or that or whatever. So that's definitely never been an argument of mine.
But News, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm just saying when I'm gonna put my hand up, let everybody else speak. I'm gonna address that next time I get up.
All right. Let me go ahead and get back to Rock Roller. What's shout out? I see Mark up here, Brother Moku up here. Is that black that Negro up here as well too with a new profile? So shout out James. What's up? Anybody wants to speak? Go ahead and raise your hands. We will get you up in here as well too. I got you. Rock Roller. Go ahead, and I'll get to you, Denmark.
Yeah, what's up, man? Can y'all hear me, bro?
Yes, sir. We got you.
I'll be real quick, just like I'm always. I have absolutely, and I'm not no dumb nigga, bro. But I have absolutely no idea what that dude just said. Absolutely nothing. It just sounds like a goddamn bunch of babble. But the reason why I came up here was to say this: have y'all ever been in a room with a bunch of Caribbeans that claim to be African? Because I have never been in a room with a bunch of Caribbeans that claim to be African. But all of a sudden, Black Americans, we're just some generic ass, imitational ass Africans, bro. And my question is, why do we gotta be African, but Caribbeans don't? And I'm a lame.
Appreciate that, Rock Roller. And
News, real quick. I'm not making the argument about somebody has to agree with what I said, but is anything I said did I not provide clarity?
I understand what you're saying. We'll get back.
That's all I want to know.
I'm gonna get back to you though. Let me go ahead and get to Denmark, and then let me go ahead and get to Mark after that as well too.
Hey, so I heard the brother say this is what the Portuguese did. This is how they did it. This is what period of time they did it. This is what the English did. This is how they did it. This is what period of time they did. And all this stuff, all these instances can be corroborated through historical writings and all this here type stuff. Show me where and what were the name of the Africans that came to America way back when, and show and corroborate that with historical writings the way that you did everyone else. We're not African. We are Africans are, listen, we're not African. I'm not African. And just like Rottweiler just said, I'm tired of people. The reason that they're trying.
Oh, you still there, Denmark? We lost you. Can you hear us?
The reason the reason they're trying to make us African is because we're the most powerful group of people on the face of the earth. Everybody, we are the key to prophecy, biblical prophecy, and everything else. We're the key to the freaking universe, and everybody wants to be us. The Satanists are targeting us because they understand our power. Haitians come here and dig up our ancestors' grave and crush their bones for voodoo because they understand the power that Black Americans possess. Why do they?
What?
The institutions, the University of Georgia, the Liberty Bell, the University of Penn, all these institutions build their edifices on the graves of Black Americans because they understand the power of Black Americans, the power that we possess, the spiritual, the etherical, all types of power that we possess. That's the reason why everyone is targeting us. We are the prophecy. So anyway, we're not African. We're new people. We're not an antiquated people. In order for God to fulfill his prophecy, he created a new people that wasn't like the rest of the people so that he could instill in them what it is that he needs to take us into the new that he talks about. after Armageddon and all that. He's not going to totally destroy the world. He's going to create a new. And we're the people that's going to take people there. We're the shining light. We're the beacon. So that's my take on it. But anyway, I'm not African. I don't go around chopping people up and pouring blood on me for prosperity. We're the only people that don't have a blood ritual tied to our culture. We're the people coming out of slavery that invented motors, airplanes, this, that, and the other. We're those people. No one else does that. So we're special people. We're not African. We're not Indians. So anyway, I apologize, man, but that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, I appreciate that. Now you got me when you said, now I'm here in Florida, and you said that the Haitians dig up our bones, and I'm gonna be honest. I know a bunch of Haitian cats. And living in Florida, I ain't never heard that one. If so,
look it up. They had to start putting locks on the graves and putting guards on the graves because they were digging up graves for bones.
They eating the cats, they eating the dogs. Told her, oh my God, man, no.
Yeah, that I'm gonna tell you, Denmark, that was the first time I heard that one there. So I got some Haitian homeboys now. I got some Haitian homeboys, and some of them I know they believe in the voodoo and stuff like that. But that part I didn't. And I've been in Florida I done lived in North Florida and South Florida. I've never heard that one there before. I have to be honest, but so we got Mark up in here real quick, guys. For those that can support us on Cash App, $News Soda, News Soda. News Soda is the largest Black-owned, Black American media curation platform today in America. Once again, $News Soda, News Soda. Mr. Mark, what's going on with you, man? It's been a hot minute.
Yes, sir. Listen, we should start our existence here in this country at the point of slavery, right? All the rest of that shit before slavery, fuck it.
Language, y'all.
Oh, my bad. Oh.
You knew Mark was gonna come like that. You knew that.
But anyway, we start our existence in this country as slavery. Anything else before that, we don't even want to talk about it. Talk about it for what? You know what I mean? There's nothing to talk about when it comes to just say those that came in the bottom of slave ships. Why would I identify if I was sold off by Africa? Why would I want to identify with the people that sold me? Right? And then for those who are already here on this land mass, and I'm only speaking to those who descended from slavery. Whether you were here or came in the bottom of slave ships, our conversation should start right there. Our camaraderie should start right there. All this stuff about, for political purposes, we have no business calling ourselves no African Americans. You know who promotes African American? These black elites, these sellout black elites. That is their language amongst each other to differentiate and separate themselves from us. They got caught up in Pan-Africanism and all that type of insanity. And since they separated themselves from us a long time ago, it's time we officially separate ourselves from them and let them continue to call themselves whatever they want to call themselves. Has nothing to do with us. We represent us. No longer will we allow the boule who decided that it was going to be the talented 10 and get in front of us. No longer are we aligned with them. We must separate and segregate from these people. These are insane people. You can't go to school black and come home Greek and not be insane. You're insane.
Oh my God, Mark.
Okay? You cannot go to school black, come home Greek without being insane. You cannot take the Caucasian version of the Masonic order and not be insane. Now, you asked one of the Masons, why would you go to a white boy and ask him, can you be yourself? And I mean, he don't have to answer, but these are the people that we must separate from. These are the insane fools of our people. And they've been leading the charge, but now that we're older, we must separate from them. They're the ones who keep our people attached to everything but themselves. You have to disassociate from them. These are the crazies of our people. They're the ones who go into corporate America, they go into government, and do everything in their power to undermine us. And until we start separating and segregating ourselves from them here in Chicago, we weren't seeing any success. Now that we've separated from them, it's a different ball game. Most people that go to these universities come out brainwashed, not educated. Very few are educated. Link up with the educated ones. Don't link up with, I don't care what degrees they have. You listen to them long enough to figure out, is this person brainwashed or educated? And if you see that they're brainwashed, get away from them.
Or both.
Watch this. Let me show you brainwashed. How do you go and obtain a master's in business and turn around and take a slave job for the rest of your life? You never start a business. That costs you less than $500. You think that's not a brainwashed person? That's an insane brainwashed person. How do you justify all those years and all that money you spent getting a master's, then turn around getting a slave job? And then convince yourself you're successful. So these are the ones who are promoting this African American, this Pan-Africanism, running around these old musty dashikis and old live bait niggas. You know what I'm saying? This whole libation. They want to live bait and pour out water and all. Man, dude, get away from me. I'm not getting up under none of that kind of stuff. They love Africa so much that they forgot their own families. They forgot their own communities. They're the ones that called for all these other groups prior to the 1965 Nationalization Act to be brought into this country. See, people think that moves that are made in America are only made by these Caucasians. No. You got black people in America that got just as much power as these white boys do. Stop letting them tell y'all they don't have no power. And I'm talking about they call shots. It's a round table. There's nobody at the head of the table. Some of us don't know that the first cities built in America were not built by no Caucasians. They had plantations. Our people built the cities. But, you know, they argue me to death when I say this, but that's because they don't know the history. They don't know. But we come from those people. We come from that cloth, bro. Our families were deacons for defense, all fought in World War II. I had great uncles, bro, as a kid, that we learned that they freed the Jews from Hitler. The Jews ain't did nothing for us. We did it for them. That's why they aligned with our people during the Civil Rights Movement. Because we freed them, our people freed them from Hitler. But if you listen to these old hot desert sand nigger Masons, you start believing that garbage that they talking about. But just ask them, and I'm gonna be done. Again, ask that nigger Mason, why would Prince Hall Sambo ass go over to Europe and ask them white folks, can he be himself? Why would Prince Hall go over to Europe and ask them white boys, can he be himself? Because everything about the Masonic order was him already.
Let him cook.
This is how you shut them down. These are the ones that's been running the show, y'all. See, I do this to them on a daily basis. We the guys in Chicago, they stay away from us. Because we say all the taboo stuff. We're not fascinated by some old Black Greek or some old Mason or Eastern Star that know that the darker skin version exists, but they want the lighter skin version. They want the white version. You got to listen to no Mason. Them the biggest fools in this country. But Black American Mason is the biggest fool in this country. Get away from those people. They're insane. They're backwards. And they want you to be backwards. That's why they had to get rid of people like Dr. King, because he woke up when he came to the North. He woke up to the Masons. He woke up to them D9 organizations. He woke up to them Jews when he came up to the North. But y'all go ahead.
Hey, News, so I put a link down in the Purple Pill about the grave robbing. You can use that as a breadcrumb, but that was happening so regularly that the cemeteries in Florida started locking up the cemeteries and posting guards. But I put something in the Purple Pill.
All right.
Just to add on to what Denmark said, I tagged y'all in something. Check your tag, Denmark. Check your tag, Total Pressure. Check your tag. You know what I'm saying? Listen to what that African general said.
When you said you DM me?
No. Just check your regular tag and your notifications.
Appreciate that.
The notification bell right here on Twitter. So yeah. Listen to what that African general said. What he was doing in war time. You know what I'm saying? Right. This was in our lifetimes that he was doing that. So hey, and then shout out to Brother Moko. I know he was up here a second ago. Hey, we talk about these bodies at Harvard. Hey Harvard, why y'all selling bodies, yo? You know what I'm saying? What's that for, B? What's that about? You know what I'm saying? Why Mississippi? You know, you got a whole bunch of
DJ, real quick. Let me get to some of the hands up before you go in. Let me get the but
shut up, DJ.
Shout out to real quick to my girl, Goddess Michelle, for a contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to that Negro. That Negro, what's going on with you tonight?
Yes, sir. News Cutter, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight?
All right, man. I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for asking. You already know, brother DJ, Professor. You already know. First and foremost, I got to say shout out to Elder Val. I didn't know y'all were having a space tonight. She shot me the room. I said, oh, the family's going in. All right. So shout out Elder Val. Love you much, and thanks for keeping me on my toes, keeping me in the family business. Peace, power, and American Negro reparations to the room, specifically for the people group who were emancipated from United States sanctioned chattel slavery between the years 1863 and 1865. These were the same individuals who financed America as a whole. This is adding on to what Brother Denmark was saying. Well said, by the way. Denmark giving us all those accolades, all those amazing points of reference where our people can't be, we can't fall into any other group with any other people. We are not to say better, but we are, y'all. We are from a stock of people that do not quit. We are proof of that with every breath, with every action, and with every movement we make. And so we are the co-founders. Brother News Toter, we are working with the Seattle Times right now. I'm going to keep you posted. We are going to have a big editorial coming out, should be in the next couple weeks, about what I'm saying, about being co-founders and about Thomas Jefferson's first rough draft to the Declaration of Independence. I really would like to do this space with you because it opens a page to something that we are the financiers for America being America, y'all. I don't think that hits as hard as it should, just because without us, we could have never seceded from the crown, period. Without our slave labor, without our money, without our wicks being in those candles saying one is by land, two is by sea. That was our dollars, unbeknownst to our ancestors at the time. That was our dollars that created America, y'all. So when that editorial comes out, News Toter, I want to show you some of this grade A scholarship and work we've been putting out here in Washington State. Before, it's kind of like my signature for leaving before I shoot out to Delaware. But it's the truth, and America's gonna have to, next year is 250 years of this 1776 shit. And I think this article...
Watch the language.
Oh, my bad, DJ. I forgot it's a News Toter.
Hey, Wall Street is literally built on top of us. Literally.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, man. We were the first equity. We're our bodies. The Negro body was the first thing on the stock exchange, y'all. Come on. So I just want to say,
at minimum $1,500 a person too. As far as $10,000 a person. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, these are facts. This is irrefutable facts, y'all. And so, News Toter,
my bad, captive contraband. My bad. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to our ancestors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I just want News Toter stay on deck on that. I will keep you posted. But it's the reality of who we are. We are co-founders. We aren't just citizens here, y'all, and they know it. That's the cold part. And when it goes down and we get what's coming, for real, it will be a dawn of a new era, and we will make America great for the first time ever, y'all, ever. So with that, thanks for letting me speak, News Toter. I will definitely stay in touch. Did you get my monthly donation, brother? Have you guys still getting that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, y'all. That is what makes this amazing man and this amazing mission tick. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. It's not a lot. The brother ain't asking for a lot, but we should give so these kind of spaces with this kind of knowledge can be reciprocal to all people that look like us. Thanks, News Toter, and I'll drop it right there.
Yes, sir.
Hey, News Toter, I apologize, brother. I know you like decorum in your room, but that nigga just hit on something, gave me goosebumps, man. I just want to share this with the room. Not only were we the financial engine, but look up a fella by the name of Wentworth Cheswell. When Paul Revere was on one side of the town talking about the British are coming, Wentworth Cheswell was on the other side of the town saying the same thing. Wentworth Cheswell was a black man. They don't talk about him in history. They want to make it seem, when he talks about we're founders of this country, we are literally founders of this country. And we have more contribution to the establishment of this country than any other people. There was literally a black man saying, the British are coming. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks, man.
Preach, Denmark.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Let me go ahead. I see we got a new speaker, Miss Bruna. Miss Bruna. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Miss Bruna, it is. And then I'm gonna get to the hands that was up. Miss Bruna, you there?
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hey, guys. I just want to say I thank you for speaking in the space. And to me, it seems like most of the things that have been going on, it seems like the best solution is that maybe Africans and Caribbeans and Black Americans, you get three different what you call it, designations as far as, identity on the census and different application forms. I think that might be the best solution going forward. So that's what I was going to say. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a correction I gotta help make for you. Right
I know you about to start. I know you about to start. But come on, let me go ahead and get to the. Let me get to the heads, man. Come on, man. Come on. Let me get to the heads. You always.
Like Professor, I was really respectful to everybody. I don't know why you are coming for me. Like seriously.
Okay.
Because you shouldn't be coming out here speaking on none of these issues.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get that. Let me go. Hey, so the conversation don't go sideways. Let me go ahead and keep it on track, and let me go ahead and get to the black pressure and make it. I'm gonna get to you next, so we can keep everything on par, whatever.
Hey, so look, let me touch this real quick. Like when Mr. Mark Carter spoke, I promise I literally agree with 99% of the stuff he said. I really agree with it. He said, for political reasons, a lot of this conversation we're having, and he was right, it's pretty much useless if we want to achieve like political goals and things like that. He was right about that. So that's one thing I do disagree with when he said, why would you claim ancestry from people that sold you and all that stuff? That's cool. I get it. I promise you. I feel the same way. There's no honor in being kidnapped and put into slavery and sold, and there's no honor in that. I get it. But nonetheless, you could look at a modern day example. I'm sure this probably has touched people in this room. And even as we speak, every day this happens. There are people, there are children who can't defend themselves that are molested by their mothers and fathers, right? And I get it. Once again, there's no honor in that. People that are violated by blood relatives, like I say, mothers and fathers, just because they did that to you, are there any less your mother and father? But I'll move on. So going back, I think the brother's name was Denmark, I think. I hope I got that right. If I don't, I apologize. Please correct me. But the brother issued an open challenge to him. He said, we're not Africans, and he got all the other historical references I made, but can you prove we're African and where you're from? That's fine. And like I said, I take no offense. That I get up and speak. People have the right to challenge me on whatever I say. But the irony in his challenge that he issued to me is he made that open challenge and then went right into a narrative that he can't prove. He went into faith, Armageddon and God's people and a bunch of faith stuff. And so I say this, you can issue an open challenge to me the same way I can issue an open challenge to you. When you said, can I prove what I say? Can you prove? Because you evoke religion. You evoke Judeo-Christian religion. So my challenge to you is, I can't prove what I say. Can you prove that every animal on the face of the earth got in a wooden boat and floated in water that covered the whole earth for 40 days? Can you prove that? And you made a statement. You made a statement. You said we're the only people that don't have blood rituals, tied to our culture. Now, you evoked Judeo-Christian religion. Now, remember that. Last time I checked, because you evoked God, and we're God's people, and he's going to put us, all this shit, all that stuff. Last time I checked, the ancient Israelites had to make a blood sacrifice to atone for their sins, but you brought up religion. Can you prove that? And I'll mute up and listen.
Real quick, let me give a shout out to some of our people up here. I see Aunt Lie down there, Black Majority State. Fresh, I see you down there. My girl Tata, one of my fellow Floridians up in here as well too. Miss Trouble, I see you've been chilling. I'm surprised you ain't make your way up here, but it's all good. I know you probably chilling for the night or whatever. I see my girl Val up in here as well too. Shout out to Val as well too. So shout out to some of our favorites in here. Fresh, I just clicked on your profile picture. That is a nice profile picture you got. You are a very cute young lady. I just want to go ahead and say that. Some of my
I was about to say that, man.
Well,
shout out to all the beautiful black women up here now.
Yeah.
I said black American women, not fake women, black women.
So if any of my young fellows in here and y'all single, and I don't know if Fresh is single, definitely take a look at that picture. Definitely take a look at that picture, fellas. Professor, I don't know why you keep doing it. I don't know why you just won't leave it alone, Professor. But come on, man. Let me go ahead and get it to make it. I saw my girl Goddess Michelle come up here. So it's Goddess. If you want to speak as well too, let me know and we will get you up here. I want to hear. It's been a minute since you spoke in the news solar space as well too. So if you got something to share with us, definitely let us know. Make it. Go ahead. You got it.
All right, thanks, bro. I want to kind of respond to the brother in terms of from a religious standpoint. You know, from a biblical standpoint, you know, I keep asking, why is it that we got all the pieces of the puzzle, but we don't bring religion into the conversation? I myself think that that's a piece of the puzzle that keep being overlooked. And I say that because ever since we've been here in America, they have never told us the truth, period. So, but that being said, we practice the separation of church and state. Now, if that's the truth, if they ain't never told us the truth, I can't believe that that's the truth as well. That being said, when I look at us from a religious standpoint and us coming through slavery, I've read in the book that would happen. And it never said who would do it. It just said that it would happen. So we find ourselves turning our attention to where individuals sold us from. But prophecy is what it is. It didn't point out who would do it. And they didn't say that they would be maligned. It just said what would happen to us going through slavery and what would happen coming out of slavery. So from that standpoint, I feel like we keep missing part of the puzzle because we keep spirituality too far away from what we're looking at. And I'm going to land right there.
Appreciate that.
News, like 10 seconds, bro. Just 10 seconds.
You got it.
So to piggyback on what the brother said, like I said, he evoked religion. Now, you know me in religion. I'm always at war with religion. But since somebody evoked it, if you read in the Bible that people say is the inspired word of God, the Bible clearly states those original Israelites who were black people, God said because of your disobedience, he will put you on ships and scatter you all across the world because of the sins of your forefathers. I'll mute up and listen.
I don't think he was disputing that part. I guess what he was trying to say too one time. Remember, you were saying something about you were pointing out all of the Europeans that came and traveled to America and everything and the language and everything that they brought over. I think he was trying to say, well, okay, well, if you can point to the Europeans coming over here, and he's trying to say, where's the record of the Africans making a voyage to the New World? The same kind of record keeping the way that the Europeans had it, and that people can see that. He's like, where's the actual record keeping that the Africans actually traveled over here and did this and did that as well?
I put in a purple pill right now, Columbus and his journeys. And when he said he saw Africans when he came to this side of the world,
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not because I've heard that before. I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying that's what he was saying.
No, I get you. Yeah, I don't want to hold on.
Columbus never made it to North America, did he?
Go ahead, brother. I'll mute up and listen.
No, he never made it to America. He never made it to the American soil. He made it to the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, he went to the Caribbean. He never came to the United States. And we know what the native people of the Caribbean kind of look like. We know what they look like, right? And they didn't look like Africans. They were. I guess if you want to compare them to the pygmy Chinese or something of that nature, you know, in stature, but they definitely weren't of the Bantu type of stature.
Okay, I get it. I agree. But when you say Africans, what?
No. We're developing the room right now. I apologize, Ms. Toder. I apologize. Go ahead. Get with your room, please, brother.
No. It's cool. It's cool. Because like I say, we don't have many hands up right now. So if you guys, I'll let y'all go ahead and like I say, if Goddess wants to speak, anybody else wants to speak as well too, we ain't gonna keep it going too much longer. That's what I'm trying to see who may want to come up here and get it in before we close it out. Miss Bruna, go ahead. I'll let you and I'm kind of skeptical with you because it seems, for whatever reason, always seems to set Professor off. But go ahead and get it in. Professor, stay on your mic too. And Miss Bruna, and then anybody else that wants to speak as well too, go ahead. And we ain't gonna be going too much longer, but go ahead. Miss Bruna, you there?
I just decided that, I'll just leave it. But otherwise, thank you, Mr. Newspaper, for always being respectful towards me. So I just want to leave it at that. And thank you for hosting the space. And I'll just squash it.
Okay, no problem. Appreciate you for coming on up here. Let me see.
It was never nothing to squash, Mr. Bruno. Thank you.
Go ahead. Go ahead and make it.
Yeah, I wanted to finish off and make a point when it came to religion and that particular part in the Bible when it speaks about us and our journey, sojourn through slavery. If one picks up the book and sits down and read that particular part in Genesis 15:13, you will see that whatever we want to call that spiritual power or higher being, that he allows slavery to come into play. That when I look at that, I'm looking at what he is allowed to take place, even though it don't describe how the people will suffer. It just say they're gonna suffer and they're gonna go through a whole lot of turmoil, right? But he doesn't say what type of turmoil, just that it would be turmoil. So looking at our sojourn here, it would be hard to believe that it would be nothing, just for nothing, and that the people that would come out would just be a lost people for nothing. It is, when you look at the prophecy in itself, it speaks of this people coming out as a new people and introducing to the world, what it had become, us as a people had become, and being a glory to everybody else. So I had to look at that in terms of this word African American, and it's hard for me to see that going through this sojourn that we're going through, that the higher power would even allow this word to last into the future. That's why I said what I said about the word African American. I don't see it having a future for us as a people.
All right, appreciate that. Who had the hand up?
Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead,
No, Denmark, you were Denmark and go, it doesn't matter.
Right now, I was just going to say, everybody get in the Jumbotron real quick and retweet that information there. Get in the Jumbotron, get in the chat, y'all, retweet the information. Make sure y'all hit News Total on the Cash App. Let's go. Go ahead, whoever wants to speak, Denmark, you got it.
Okay, thank you. I apologize if in any way I derailed your room, man. It's great space, great conversation. Respect to everybody. And the brother that just spoke, I agree with him. We are a new people. And see, we have a covenant with God. This is the way I see it, and definitely John, I think it's John 2:22 says, "Let no man teach you the word; the Spirit will teach you the word." Your relationship with God is personal. So I'm not trying to teach the word. I'm simply trying to express the word as the word is interpreted in me. That's it. And it's up to you to establish your relationship with the Almighty and allow him to interpret the word in you. But the way that the word's been interpreted in me tells me that despite the fact that God found this favor in us, he utilized us for his favor. So he allowed things to happen that rebirthed us, so to speak. We had a rebirth. Things happened. We were transmuted. We were transformed into this new thing that God found pleasure in, was pleased with, more pleasing. And he made a pact with us, and he told us that we have to turn back to God as a people. We have to turn back to God, put away idols and all that there type stuff. And that's where, and from where I interpret it, that's where we are now in the process of turning back to God. Now, despite the fact that he found this favor in us, he put certain things on us to let us know that he hasn't abandoned us. Despite the fact that we were going through and are going through what we're going through, he still put signs there to let us know, I am still your God. I am still with you. I am watching you. I have told you what you need to do. I'm still here. I still got you. But you need to do what I told you to do, which is to turn back to God. Stop leaning to your own understanding. So anyway, and from my understanding, one of the things that one of the signs is that he gave us the ability, like no other, of fruition. Being able to conceptualize something and speak it into existence. Keep in mind that the so-called enslaved Negro didn't have a second grade education, but they had internally the science of the universe. They were able to take mankind from horse and buggy to automobile, from thinking about flying to inventing an airplane. And uneducated people, that is. We did things historically that no other group of people have ever done in the history of mankind. Coming out of slavery within one generation, going from illiteracy rate of like 10% to above 70% in one generation. So he did things to us, or there were things within us to show us that he is still with us. These inventions are futuristic. They're signs that we're the people of the future. So when you create something and someone else comes along and they get hold of it, they're never going to be able to use that thing the way that you would use it because you're the inventor of it. You understand the spirit of what it is that you created from fruition. So people will build airplanes and they'll turn them into warships, or this, that, or the other. But that's not to God's will. That's not what God wants. Because God put that in us, and he gave us the ability to do that, we're the best arbitrators of that. So I've heard the actor, and this guy was just watching the other day, man. I can't remember his name, but he's an astrophysicist and historian. Gosh, what is his name? But they both say the same thing, and it makes sense to me. And they're both inventors. They said that when people got hold of their knowledge that they had, they don't understand the full potential of it, and they use it the wrong way. So anyway, what I'm saying is that
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No, all right. So the actor, what's his name? The light-skinned guy, Flow and Hustle.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
That brain dead ass nigga.
Yeah, and then
you got him.
and then the black guy, the astrophysicist, who tours the pyramids and all that there type stuff?
Hey, guy, you be watching him. Shout out to Black Majority. Hey, guy, what's the old boy name? Hopefully he there, but go ahead there, Mark.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is this, is that it's not to say that we're better people than anyone else, but one thing like the Bible shows us, the Surah, the Quran, all these different books show us is that God designates us people to do different things, to do certain things. You know, it's like he's delegating duties, right? And so considering that we were, quote unquote, uneducated, and through slavery up to World War II, we had over 50,000 inventions on record, not to mention the ones that were stolen from us or whatever. So it's way more than 50,000, right? And so that to me suggests that, because no one understands the technology better than the inventor, right? So that suggests to me that it's meant for us to take the world into the new future. So aside from technology, we are the people who, when other people around the world suffer, we're the ones who come to their aid.
Hey, Denmark, not to cut you off real quick, but let me get you to land it. So we got a couple.
All right, I'm landed. Yeah, you're right. I'm kind of going on. But for me, there's evidence of the fact that we're a special people. We have a special mission because no one else does what we do in certain areas. Now, maybe another people have a certain charge for humanity, but we have a particular charge for humanity. And as a people, and in my opinion, it behooves us as a people, because it's part of our mandate or our pact with God, that we get back, that we turn back to God. And I think that that's happening in droves now. So anyway, that's all I want to say, man. I apologize for rambling.
No, you're good. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead. Oh, Goddess was up and she disconnected. So I guess Goddess, she didn't want to speak. But let me go ahead and get to Rella, and then Cheryl, I get to you after that, and then you guys.
Some folks disconnected. Ray just got dropped too, or whatever. But go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Rella.
I can wait. I think there were some people up here before me. Hey, Minnesota.
Only person that was ahead of you was Goddess, but she put her hand down and she dropped down. So that was it.
Okay. So shout out to you and Professor and DJ. Shout out to the state.
What's up, sister? How you doing?
A lot going on, but I'm okay.
Good to hear from you, Rella.
That's good to hear from you. Let me answer a question first. New York Times, it's time to let go of African American. I think people have already let go of identifying as African in a sense of the identity of how culturally other people present. Having descent or whatever is in your family lineage, I feel like we talk about this as ad nauseum. It is not an indictment for you to find people of different walks of life in your family lineage, if that is what you have had and have found, or even if you haven't found it. It's not an indictment. It's not wrong. I think what people are done with is the erasure of, I want to say, the people here on this landmass being covered or coveted by other nations that come into this landmass claiming to be our influence and our voice and likeness. That is part of the scattering in the judgment that came about the covenant, the first covenant
that Brother Pressure mentioned. And however, we are under a new covenant for those who aren't warring with our religious practices or our faith practices. For those who are saved, however, we don't practice Europeanism like spirituality. Whether you decide to float in between wherever you go to pray and however you decide you want to worship, you don't worship like other nations. Even when you are coming into those nations, part of the scattering was you would be used, and your influence and your desire of style, if you read the entire chapter, it says would be used to influence and build up other nations, and that's what we're seeing today. And I'm going to leave that there. So you can go read Ezekiel, you can go read Deuteronomy, you can go read Revelations. There are some other, you can read Timothy, you can read all these other books, but you have to keep in mind the time that these things were written were testimonies at the time of things that were happening then, and the evidence of things that possibly could be happening still today and being repeated because of disobedience. And I'll leave that there. But I'm not here to challenge anybody's spirituality in your walk and how you feel, because how you end up and where you end up is not a condemning for me. I just know that I will always represent the fact that God is and always will be ever present, because you are alive, you have breath in flesh bodies. The trees are alive and the elements of air fill your lungs. That is evidence that God is real. The other thing is that I really think that people just tend to kind of be in a place where they want to see something physical, but they don't do the actual work to actually go and seek it and find it if it's not in their face. The Ark of the Covenant was not about a boat. It was actually about your faith and belief of the covenant made with God, between you and God. So if you understand that the covenant of the new covenant, which is the blood that was shed, then you will understand the Ark of the Covenant of the old has already fallen away, which is why we are in a new season, are constantly going into new seasons, because the peeling away of dead things, old things, the uncovering of things unseen, speaking life into those what is not is something we're supposed to be doing. I think learning how to do that. The church has, I think, run so many people away that it covered up the historical reference of what it was used for, even with our ancestors, right? And how they were able to even to survive throughout a lot of the stuff that they went through, good, bad, or indifferent. The biggest thing for me, News Toter, into the space, we spent a lot of time on what was instead of spending more time on what could be. And what could be is that we have been given the power in this generation to move us into the promise. And we decide not to, like, we fall apart. If somebody's not hosting a space, or we kind of fall back into our comfort zones and being repetitive parrots. You could have everything that you want in protection if you would declare it. You could have everything you want in need if we would declare it amongst ourselves as a unit, as one body. And we are not being good stewards of that. So I would challenge everyone to, and I've said this before, declare your history and the evidence of what you say on paper. File your paperwork in the courts. Bring the slave owners and the foreigners of the land to their knees and do what it is that your Father has sent you here to do. If that is not you, and I'm not speaking to you, let it fly. But if it is landing somewhere where you understand that you might not have to be in a church setting somewhere, nobody needs to come and preach to you, but it has already been spoken to you what your mission and role is. You either do it or you will turn to dust and pass away, only have been a footnote on this earth. That is it. And that is all. Thanks to Soder for letting me speak, and I'll sit back and listen.
All right. Thank you, Rella. We're going to get to the hands up that's up here right now, and then we're going to close it out. We're going to get to Cheryl. We're going to get to Black Majority State. We'll get to Ray. Then we'll get to that Negro and Make It and DJ. Then we're going to be out for the night. Go ahead, Cheryl. You got it. Unmute your mic.
Okay. How y'all doing? And I mean, I don't have no proof, but I've just always been curious about this throughout my life. And I wonder if anybody else feel this way. I mean, there were two castles, El Mino Castle, and there was another one when a lot of Africans were brought over here. But the ones that were at the top, they were more expensive. They were the ones that came to America. I mean, like you said, we did this, we did that. And I just wonder, could we be the descendants of Kemet? I always wondered that. Don't have no proof, but I just always wondered that. And did anybody else ever wonder that?
That's I really you're saying Kemet. You're talking about ancient of course what we know is Egypt today, but you're talking about
ancient Egypt, because it wasn't called Egypt until the 50s, 1950 something, but actual Kemet.
I don't know. People, whenever they do try to link black people to the continent, it's always West Africa. But I mean, I'm sure people we know people that have migration patterns and stuff in the world. But that's that's one I particularly couldn't answer. But that is a good question that you brought up, to be honest. I can only.
Yeah, I just sent you a DM, Cheryl.
Yeah, I only pretty much I can't really trace back to Africa. I can trace back to my family here in this country, so I couldn't really answer that. But that is a good question. That is that's a little different than what we normally hear in these spaces as well too. So I appreciate that, Cheryl. Let me go ahead and get the Black Majority State. Black, what's going on with you tonight?
Hey, what's going on, News Soder? Glad to have you back on the app.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back.
Yeah, I heard you had one last week, but I didn't even realize it was popping off or whatever. But yeah, definitely glad to have you back, because you know how these spaces go. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but sometimes it's even hard to sit in some of these spaces. But
I've been hearing some things.
Yeah, and I'm taking a back seat to all of it at this point, and I'm gonna hold a space this week, but I'll probably do one or two a month instead of every week. But yeah, so to the title, it's time to let go of African American. So I don't know I heard someone earlier say that the author may have some issues, and this does sound like a loaded title headline. Some biases probably in there. I didn't get to read it, but I do believe in maintaining historical references, whatever they are, that are directly connected to the people who are descended from the 4.5 million people who lived during the Emancipation Proclamation period. So if that term was used in that general format to those people, then we got to hold on to it, preserve it. The idea of African descendancy to me is really like saying you're from the planet Earth in many ways. But African is not specific enough. There's 3,000 ethnicities on the continent today, even. Who knows how many there have been over time, especially if you go back 500 years ago when our people were rounded up and brought over here. there's all types of haplogroups, because a lot of people like to go to genetic haplogroups. There's multiple different haplogroups on the continent today. And then you got the Northern Arabics who control that region, and I say North Africa, that includes what they call the Middle East, in my opinion. And then you got the Sub-Saharan darker ones, kind of, sort of, but there's also some light-skinned, quote-unquote, Africans on the continent that have some of the oldest genetic material on the planet Earth as well. And they do not look like Wesley Snipes at all. They look more like T.I. in skin complexion. Yeah. And Wesley Snipes ain't that dark, to be honest. Manute Bol is probably a much better.
They'll never get you Nike's money. You know what I'm saying? Fuck your
Yeah. But so African to me is just way too generic, and so I would never use that for my own personal benefit or whatever in any way, shape, or form. But I get it for those who want to use it. Do what you do. The Bible used repetition. This is a very important theme in biblical scholarship, is the repetition of these stories, right? So I know Noah was brought up. Shout out to that. Noah sent out a raven because ravens will hunt for dead carrion or whatever, and they'll bring it back. That didn't happen. He sent out the dove. The dove eventually comes back with a fig leaf. But here's what's so more important about that story is after all was said and done, the sons of Noah were able to go out into the land and marry women, which means that the misinterpretation of the entire earth being flooded and all the people being destroyed, and even the idea that all of the animals would have been destroyed, doesn't match with the fact that he sent out a raven looking for dead animals. There's a lot of misinterpretation on how the Bible is written and what they are trying to get across, and you've got to dig a little bit deeper to get the full meaning. The verse about the 400 years in enslavement is directly talking about us as a people, because we are the only people in modern times that have had that experience. It is directly talking about us, and we are those people. The synagogue of Satan is talking about those people. When you talk about the 6+ verses of reparations, which are in the Bible, these are biblical verses and accounts that we can utilize to empower us. And we need to utilize the Bible. Shout out to the brother who came up and said, yeah, we need more Bible. We need more God. We need more spirit in the midst in order to get this supernatural power, in order to effectuate the things the way that we hope that they will be effectuated. I'll land with this. The Palestinians are an ethnogenesis. The Italians are an ethnogenesis. Black Americans are an ethnogenesis. And the descendancy of those groups of people is never relevant to those group of people. The only reason you would use a term like African and attach it to American and then try to attach that to a group of people who are the people that the Bible is speaking about is because you want to create a spiritual bondage over those people, and you want to control the destiny of those people. And that's why, for me, we got to break those chains, just like we got to break all the other ones. That I'll land on that. And again, thanks for allowing me to speak.
All right. Appreciate you coming up here. Black, let me go ahead and get to Ray. Ray, what's going on with you tonight?
Man, what's going on, News, man? I want to definitely come in here, welcome you back, brother. It's been a good little hiatus since we've seen you, man. We're glad to have you back. I'm going to be very brief. So I kind of wrote down some of my thoughts about the topic tonight. And basically, I want to say, as we all know, it's more of a Pan-African term, because the word African-American obviously is going to lump all Black people from the U.S., Nigeria, Caribbean, Ghana, etc., and those, with those people that have ancestry that built this country. So, obviously, as Black Americans, we're very unique. We have our own lineage. We have our own struggles, slavery, Jim Crow, etc. And that term by itself kind of erases our accomplishments and just lumps us in with everyone else. Again, I think we already know it's politically neutral. A lot of people know that obviously that term was given to us by Jesse Jackson, I want to say in the late 80s, early 90s. and it was, like I said, just more political correct, but it doesn't lack any teeth. It doesn't, it doesn't address any specific reparative justice that we've been trying to get, for slavery, Jim Crow, etc. And like I said, it dilutes our reparations claim. It wasn't chosen by us. As Brother Tariq has already pointed out, it was given to us. It was not a grassroots term. It was promoted by the elites and the media, and just kind of give it to us and start popping up on census, on the census, and we've been kind of going with it ever since. But now that now that we know better, it's time for us to do better. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and land. I'm not going to be long-winded, but again, brother, it's great to have you back. It's great to see all these beautiful black faces up in the space. And we need to do this again real soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Ray. I'm definitely working my way back into doing 1 to 2 spaces a week. Like I said, I'm still doing a lot of work on the site, so that's been really, really keeping me away. That and working and stuff like that, working overtime and stuff like that, and just trying to work on the site. But I'm definitely getting back to the point where I'm gonna be doing at least 1 to 2 spaces a week. So right now I'm starting off at just 1. I'm gonna gradually build it back up to 2 and stuff like that. But I do have a lot of work I'm doing on the site. I'm totally retooling News Total all over again. So making it more effective and everything else like that as well too. But I definitely miss doing the spaces as well too. So I'm trying to work myself back up into, hitting these spaces up as well too. So I appreciate everybody coming in here tonight as well. Let me go ahead and get to that Negro. Go ahead, and then I'm gonna get to Make It, and then Rel, I let you get in real quick. I'll let you be the last person because we're gonna close this thing out.
Yeah, mine will be quick too. I should have answered the question from the beginning. That's the point of the room. So I was just coming back up to answer your question, News Total. New York Times, it's time to let go of African American. Yes, we do. Our people as a whole need to let go of that word, not for any other reason, but it was made to confuse us, y'all. Ethnicity means a person's origin. You cannot, again, a sister told me way back when I first started, go with logic. Just, if nothing else, go with logic. Hey, what's on my dad's birth certificate? Negro. Hey, guess which way I'm going? Color, Negro, mulatto, right? So that's what, now you see the mulatto standing on the square, right? Logically, no one person can originate on 2 continents at the same time. This was a psyop from moment one, y'all. It was placed in our lives just like Pan-Africanism to confuse, deflect, and throw to the wayside. So, no, we are, however, I'm an American Negro. You are whatever you stand on. And as long as it has to do with that people group who were emancipated between 1863 and 1865, that means you're one of us. And I'll land right there. Thanks, News Starter.
All right. As always, I appreciate you coming up here. Thank you. That Negro, make it make sense. Go ahead. You got it.
I appreciate it. I was just going to end on this note right here. I wanted to know that if anybody knew when did the separation of church and state come into play for us. That's all I want to know.
The separation of church and state, you said?
Yeah.
Wasn't that always in the Constitution? I thought I'm not exactly sure, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, for the most part, but I'm gonna say it really came in when the civil rights movement happened, because when we talk about the church, right? Like, we were just talking about God, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to God, you know what I'm saying? Want the social to come up there. So at the end of the day, I think it was when the civil rights movement happened, because that's kind of when black churches kind of started doing for the black community. You know what I'm saying? If you really paid attention, for those that tried to hold on, but obviously we understand, hey, if they accepting this federally government assistance welfare check of a 501(c) to help keep the church open, because us, the locals, don't go to the church no more. We ain't donating money. We ain't contributing. We ain't paying tithes and none of that other stuff because us men, we don't pull up at the church anymore. That's been said 1,000 times. Men don't come to the church no more. So it's only y'all women that support it, you know what I'm saying? And obviously a lot of these churches are grifting, and there's a lot of churches that get closed down because they're not getting supported. You know what I'm saying? That's really trying to help the community, but it's like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got to talk about those things, but go ahead.
All right.
Well, I mentioned that because, when I read the good book, I read about heaven and earth. But as long as we've been here, we practice the separation of church and state.
Well, I think in there, here's the thing. What you eat don't make me blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these white folks believe with the whole don't tread on me type mentality. This is why we got to delineate. Really
from our culture standpoint, I'm saying has that hindered us from growing?
Yeah, no, at the same time. You know what I'm saying? I believe, you know what I mean? But if you ain't putting your faith in the man up above, then yeah, you ain't gonna grow. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't outside at 10 o'clock in the morning getting the sun between 10 and 12, you ain't receiving the word. For real. You know what I'm saying? Sister Goddess, you up here? Hey, make sure y'all come up to Fund It Socially too. I'm starting the space soon as we end this one. Come up to funditsocially.com. Come in the news total community on Fund It Socially. I'll be starting the space over there for 2 hours to show y'all a lot of this, not to call yourself African American and all this other good stuff. Okay? Well, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Goddess, did you want to say something? Because I know you were up here earlier, but then you dropped down.
Yes, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
I just wanted to say that I believe that African Americans should be retired, and the term should be redefined to reflect us. And I also believe that it was created to wipe us out, ethnically erase us. And if it's designed to do that, then I would say that everybody should be on board as a collective to retire the term, because it affects all of us. Even if I had an African on my tree, I would still go with the collective of my people so that we won't be wiped out. We are a distinct people in this country. We're new people. And everything Willa was saying, and Denmark, everything that they said in terms of how we're a distinct people, that is all correct. And so we have a right to exist. And we are the ones who's going to make the change on this planet, the change that's supposed to be made, because we are righteous people by nature. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Goddess, for coming on up here tonight. Thank you, as always, for your support as well, too. Rella, I'm going to go ahead and let you go ahead and close it out, and then we're going to go ahead and close this thing out for the night.
Thank you, Ms. Sutter, and definitely shout out to all the speakers. It's so good to hear God is good, and make it make sense. And Ray, I'm so glad to hear you bring some scholarship up in here. I'm always in agreement that the double nationality has always been confusing. But I'm always going to stand, in the realm where history does take people and allow people space to discover, their identity as a Black American, a descendant in this country. And I also believe, to answer the question, the separation of state came in the 1800s when Jefferson, according to what I'm pulling up, it was the First Amendment, where he was trying to further articulate the wall of separation. It was a metaphor he was using that stated that Congress shall, make no rules or make no laws establishing or using religion to interfere with free exercise of the Constitution and creating legislation. But we know that is not what's been happening. people from other nations have been coming in and actually using their religion and their ideology in our edifices where legislation and law preside, even so much so that they fly a foreign flag to their allegiance. And you see it when you see people saying their allegiance to Israel and to Israel's flag or to any other nation. And now you have the war with both the Muslim nation and Israel, and you're seeing it play out in our government. So now we have Catholicism, we have Muslim religion, and now we have Israelis. I think for us specifically is we have to get honest about a thing and not get tripped up over some things. One, historical record, constitutional record, and what is law governing the jurisdiction of us. And what is law governing the jurisdiction of us is what you can unlock, and that is a part of that third chain that is unlocking your mentality. None of us walk around saying, I'm an African. No one I know walks around saying, I'm an African. We don't even say African American. They try to use the term still in documentations, and we're fighting to get that changed because, again, the ethnogenesis of being Black American is that now we understand how the states weaponized terminology and how they actually used it to actually allow for other groups of people to come in and identify, receive resources before us, put them, et cetera, et cetera. Waiting and hoping that we never found a way to declare ourselves based on what the Constitution was written for, or the Emancipation Amendments were written for. So now it's time for us to define those things in law or under the jurisdiction of both state and federal government. You identify how those terms were used, and what is actually true, you must prove. And what you can prove, if you are a descendant of the formerly enslaved, you are a descendant of those who were freed in military arms. I heard Denmark bring up some valiant valor men who were possibly given their freedom, or they had to buy it or fight for it, but they were given their freedom. There were military people who, in order for them to fight during the Revolutionary War, they needed to be free or have the status of their master. If that was the case and they were free, come the Civil War, you would have free people walking around, and they were free persons. Those terms were identified in our Constitution. It wasn't freedman, it wasn't Negro, it wasn't African American, but the state allowed for the exchange of being a slave to be what? A freedman under the jurisdiction of the courts, the judicial branch of the government. There is a smoking gun. So all the terms belong to us. Now you must declare those terms, because no one else can do that. No one can come into our three branches of government as it exists, which is why Elon Musk is always offended and upset, because no one can claim to be us but us. You must declare yourself as the descendants, the people who are duly owed. So I'll end it there. And News Toter, thank you so much for the space, and peace, love, and you guys remember, be great on purpose, because that's what you were born to do.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Rella.
Oh my God.
Good to hear from you tonight. Shout out to everybody up in the space as well, too. DJ's going to start a space, he says, on Funded Socially. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to shut this thing down for the night, guys. I'm going to try to be back. I will be back next week, but I'll see about maybe trying to throw another one in here if I have time this week as well, too. One more if possible. So shout out to all you guys. Thank you for coming through supporting. And we will see you guys either later this week or next week. Black, you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, I want to get in there real quick too. My bad.
Well, real quick, because it's 11. I'm trying to close it out. But I saw Black had his hand up real quick.
Maybe he hit the button by mistake. You know, yeah, he want to roll.
Oh, okay.
Roll again, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, make sure y'all download the Socially app. Come make an account, download the app, yo. I'll see y'all over there. I'm out.
All right, peace.
I'm starting out right now. Let's go.
Peace. I'm out too. We'll see you guys. Bye.